Hey everyone, and welcome back to Indicted TV. I'm your host Negra. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. Before we start, you already know I gotta give a shout out to my sponsors, Royalty Honey. Keep it hard, guys. Also for the best jewelry, for his glory, and for the most fires, Kelly Plug. And if you want to, and for the best tattoos, Untouchables Tattoos. Also, you guys, for the best Chinese food, Mr. Yu's in Montclair, off of Central, off the 10. On today's episode, we have Fernando. Welcome to Indicted TV, Fernando.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No, I'm super excited to hear your story because I know it's probably going to be a little different from like what I normally always have, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, the name of the show is Indicted. I kind of feel like this is exactly how it feels when everybody goes to sentencing and then... Then you go back to sentencing and like you listen to everybody like, no, way, 10 años, no, way, like 15 and you're there with your 6 months, like,
oh, you know no, entonces no digas nada, güey.
So, you know,
okay, so tell me, Fernando, where are you from? Where did you grow? Like, where are you from? Where did you grow up? Mom, dad, brothers. How was the inside of your house growing up?
So my grandma from my mom's side comes from Querétaro, and on my dad's side, they're from Monterrey.
Okay.
So they're the first ones in the old TJ. So that was their first generation. Like on my neighborhood, there's the first families that got there. There was no house before there.
Oh wow!
So everybody that grew up there is like even like some neighbors are family friends with my family from like Querétaro and like from, you know what I mean?
That just first came to Tijuana.
Together. Like yeah, they came in like flocks, I guess, I don't know, and they settled there. So yeah, in TJ it's pretty young, the people that live there, you know. But back then, it was easier to cross the border. My mom had already her visa and stuff. She went to school in San Diego when she was like 15. She started driving back and forth, and she got pregnant at 17. And we had some parents and some family members in Los Angeles.
Okay.
From like on my grandma's side. And she drove to LA and she had me over here.
Oh, nice. Hey, lo bueno que la gente sabe, ¿verdad? Like, oh, voy a cruzar para tener el niño allá. So
yeah, I mean, especially in TJ, it's very common for people like my mom in her generation is my mom, my tia, and my uncle. And only her was born in TJ.
Okay.
Like the rest of them were born in San Diego. And like everybody, me, my sisters, my cousins, everybody was born in San Diego after that. But I was the only one born in LA.
Dang.
Back in the day, it was easier.
Hey, calmado, LA boy.
Yeah. Hey, that was my flex, because it was like in Blood In, Blood Out with Crucita. I was like, hey, güey, ahí nací yo. So that was a little flex. Yeah. But yeah, back then it was easier to drive. It wasn't that much traffic. So like the day she got the pains, I think that's the day she drove.
Sola?
Yeah. I don't think sola. Probably with my grandma or something like that. But yeah, and then she just had me and then she went back.
Dang.
So I grew up out there.
Tough. So you were basically you kind of were raised in Tijuana.
Yeah, I was raised in Tijuana and then went there to school for like first and second grade of elementary. And then, well, my family was in the business, so they were doing good. I was in a private school and stuff. And then,
dang.
And then some stuff happened. And then my mom ended up and my mom and my grandma ended up in the federal system. So when they got out for like some lucky stuff that happened, they beat the case for whatever, and my mom went straight after. Like she was facing like a lot of time for like heroin and stuff.
Oh dang!
So
like in the 90s or something.
Yeah, like 90 something. You know what I mean? And
dang.
And yeah, my grandma was in with the and
damn, your grandma's probably part of the damn Rayanos, huh? Sick ass grandma.
Yeah, my grandma. Yeah, she likes. So she likes to talk about it.
Oh, that's dope.
You know what I mean?
Obviously, it's not dope, but it's dope. Like,
I mean,
to hear your grandma tell you stories from like 40, years ago.
Yeah, like
more,
people that are now famous that she just met when they were barely coming out. And stuff, like, 'cause she was just like around this stuff and
that's
everything.
Cool.
And I mean, they were lucky because my grandma was working for some dude. This kind of like the story I have. And then she went to try to work for another dude, but that dude tried to like use them as bait. So what they sent her was basically all cut up stuff. So when the judge and everything came, there was like, well, you know what? They're not really crossing a lot of bricks. They're crossing very little because everything is cut, you know? So eventually they got out.
Oh, which was good.
Which was good because they got out instead of doing it like a bunch of years ago. But that to my mom, like that turned her straight as an arrow. You know what I mean? She does everything like taxes, everything. She's straight for everything. And my grandma, well, she she got a job after that and she was straight and everything. Pero pues, you know what? She likes the transilla.
Esas mañas nunca se quitan.
Yeah. So, but after that, like, instead of like they couldn't pay for private school anymore, stuff like that. So my mom was like, no, pues you're gonna go to San Diego. And I was like, no, pues yo no quiero estudiar. Yeah, I'm not gonna say, but I was like, no quiero estudiar con certain people. You know what I mean? Like, no quiero estar ahí con otra gente. So eventually I had to. And then I'm thankful for it because like I would go to school in San Diego, but like right after I got picked up, we drove straight to TJ. So all my friends, all my childhood friends, like my first girlfriend, my first everything is in TJ.
And how was it for you being in TJ, like growing up?
Well,
you probably had money though, so it was like a little different.
Not money. We had like lower middle class money, like yeah, the fridge was full and stuff like that, but we didn't have like a lot of luxuries. Like we didn't travel a lot and stuff like that, but we had everything we needed. You know, like it was a young family. So like my mom, my aunt, my uncle, my grandma worked. My grandfather, he had a, you know, when you're crossing back, the places that they sell stuff. He owned like a few of those places.
Oh dang!
Yeah, those are mostly owned the same by like the old families. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So he had those. So we were doing good. You know what I mean? We were doing like extra, but we had like, you know, some extra stuff. Like Christmas was good, and then it was only
and
me.
That's good though, because to live in Tijuana and you have like right now you said that you had a good Christmas, bro. That means you guys were okay.
Yeah, that was in the 90s though. Like most of the people were okay back in those days. So like, and plus it was only like me and maybe my sister, but for a while it was only me. So I was like the consentido, you know what I mean? My uncle was...
El niño de los ojos verdes.
And then my uncle was older than me for like 9 years.
Okay.
So we're in that much of a difference, you know what I mean? That generation connected with mine in a way.
Yeah.
And rest in peace, passed away a few years ago. And so yeah, we were doing good. But that all my friends out there, like the guys I hung out with and everything, they all went to school together. I was the only one that went to school in San Diego, you know what I mean?
And you learned English though.
Yeah, I'm learning English, a little bit. I didn't really perfect my English till like when I got to do time. I think that's where I really polished it. But before that, yeah, but I also really struggle because like in elementary, they were trying to give me like, because I was smart. I was in Mexico, you're a little bit more advanced. So they're trying to give me advanced classes, but they were in English. And like a lot of stuff, like I didn't really understand. They even put me in like this special like program. It was called like gifted and talented student something. And they would take you out of your classes for like, I was in 4th grade, but they would take me out with like 6th graders and 5th graders to like do like creative shit, like creative stuff, like build radios and stuff like that. And some and some of that stuff I didn't really get it, but just because the language barrier. And I was lucky enough to have a friend that spoke Spanish, so he kind of broke it down to me a little bit, but that was always like, it frustrated me, you know what I mean? It frustrated me a lot. So like, and they kept putting me in smart classes, which I would pass in a lot of stuff, but then when the language barrier came through, that's when I was like, I started messing up and stuff. And also I didn't really get the fun of it because like, I really bond with my friends in school because my real friends were in TJ, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's always a little bit of feeling
different.
Yeah, different a little bit. Yeah,
because they're not like your real friends; they're just your school friends.
Yeah, exactly, and they're cool. I mean, I still see some of them, and they're real cool. But yeah, I mean, oh
wait, that's cool. So you're still friends with them?
With one of them. Yeah, actually, the guy I had in the gay classes that he was really cool with me, and then now with social media, like everybody's, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's cool.
So we found a couple of each other, and I've seen some of them. But yeah, he's doing his thing. We don't kick it a lot and everything. We see each other like once every 6 months or something. But yeah, I still try to keep in touch. Even with my 4th grade teacher, he taught me how to play chess.
Oh, nice.
And so I really with him, like he was really like a very interesting dude. So I found him on Facebook and we talked like, hey man, and he was like, hey man, I see what you're doing. It's cool.
That's good.
So I was like, it's cool because like if they would have saw me like 10 years ago, they're like, oh, stay away. Yeah. But now they get to see like another side, you know what I mean? So it's cool in general, yeah.
Well, that's good. So tell me, Fernando, like, so you're going back and forth. Did you went to junior high over here as well? High school? Did you finish school? When did you start going like, ya agarrando la calle?
Not really. I don't know. It's because in TJ, we were more traviesos, you know what I mean? We do shit for fun and our families were doing good. Like all my friends' families were kind of doing good a little bit. So out there it's not really gangs. It's more like tag banging. Like we would do graffiti and stuff like that, but we would fight each other too. So it was a little bit of both. So our crew, we threw like the sickest parties just because we all tipped in and we
you guys had a little bit more money.
Yeah, we were doing good. So
super fresas or no? Just ahí más o menos.
No, like just like in the hood maybe, yeah, you know what I mean. But outside of that, we're like, nah, esto way siguen siendo cholos, you know.
Yes.
So and then I started driving since I was like 12, 13. And so I would ask for the cars in my house, like, hey, I'm nomás voy a la tienda, and you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But I would be with the compas, like car filled up, and then driving all the way. Let's go see where it take us, and then just grab the via rápida and go.
No.
So we're just going visiting girls and stuff like that and shit like that, and we're really doing nothing bad other than like either tagging or fighting fools and stuff like that. And then eventually, like the borracheras came and more like that, and intense. But then
With the borrachera, everything always gets more intense.
yeah, but I mean as time started evolving, like all the tagging crews and all that started turning into like cartel stuff.
Oh dang.
Yeah, so that's like my whole generation, that's where the switch went, because before that we're all tag banger. Everybody was tagging, build everything, and we were fighting and we're throwing parties. So that whole movement was big. But then the cartel came and everything, and everybody was like all those fools that were like really good at fighting or were always trying to fight. You know, there's always those fools in the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They start becoming like cartel fools, like they're
Like members.
Yeah, like shooting and stuff. And then a bunch of people had like family members that were involved, but we were in the street, so we didn't really see that part. But then they started getting involved with the family stuff.
Because it started getting bigger.
Yeah. So like, I remember this was a turning point. I remember exactly. We were beefing it with another colonia from there, like on site, wherever we saw each other, like, and you know, we would chase each other in cars, people over, all kinds of stuff, you know. But then I remember one time I showed up to my friend's house, which I have titled right here actually. We used to kick it out of their house. There were cuates, they were twins, so their house was the spot. So I go there like in a regular day, and I see a weird car parked outside, and I just start whistling, the typical, you know. And then the passenger door opens, and then I see my little homie. He opens the door. He's like, ¿Qué onda, güey? Hey, güey, cáile, me dice. And I was like, what the ese carro de quién es? Like, so I get in the back of the car, and then the driver turns on the light. He looks at me, and it was like basically like the little head of the other crew, like the little boss.
Oh, dang.
So me quedé como que a la verga, like, and the homie that was there, like him and me, we were considered like the youngest of the bola, you know what I mean? So we're like, oh, la verga. I was like, oh, es este güey? And he's like, hey, what's up, man? I'm just saying this for like, I want to squash every kind of beef and everything, because
so you can work.
I'm on another shit. He was like, I'm on another level, and I could really like, this could get serious, you know what I mean? Because it got serious, but it was just street shit. He actually realized like, hey, this is stupid, you know?
Yeah, let's get some money.
Yeah, and then he was like, he started driving. He turned on the car, and then he started going.
What kind of car was it?
It was just like a little 4-door.
Okay.
You know, like a small car.
Because over there you always need the little fast ones.
Nah, but we were scared. We were scared though, because me and the homie, we didn't know what this fool. You know what I mean? We're like beat these fools up, like his homie, like we lo agarramos a batazos, like all kinds of crazy. You know, so
yeah.
So just being there in the car, like talking to him, it was weird. We didn't know, like me and the homie didn't know what this was gonna do to us or something. Especially what he was telling us, like shit.
Hombre, le van a amarrar.
Yeah, so fuimos we stopped at a hot dog stand, and me and my homie scared. We're nervous, so we're not really hungry. And that was like, hey, we quieren un hot dog. And we're like, nah, está bien. Cómete un hot dog, güey. Yeah, let me get one. You know what I mean? Like, no, pues sí, güey. You know what? So we start ordering, and he's like, hey, wait, look, this is what I'm telling you. And then he pulls out a radio. The first time I seen like foods with radios, and then he's like, hey, wait, like there's some food here, like I need to pay a visit, whatever. I'm like, in those days, like one cartel rule like the whole city, so everything was like, those fools showed up like in 7 minutes probably, or shit, like a big ass truck with like 4 police looking fools, and they were like, oh no, wait, what's up, like where's it at, whatever. And he's like, nah, I just fixed that shit, whatever. He's like, all right, ya sabes a la orden, and they did.
Oh,
so that was the first, you know what I mean?
Yeah, your first encounter.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've heard of all these stories, like family stories. We've seen some shit and this and that.
Pero
but
no
like,
con tú. Like
closer.
Tú,
Yeah,
like
exactly. So, like, after that, like, his crew and we became like real cool. We became friends and shit. He came drinking.
Watched everything.
Yeah, and then even like sometimes when we were like, hey, wait a mi casa, I need to pick some stuff up. He would take us to his hood, and it was like we didn't know, like, you know what I mean? If it's always that opportunity.
Scary,
Yeah. So now eventually we became real cool, and then after that, like all the graffiti and all that shit just like vanished, and it was like cartel shit. Like, who do you work for, basically? You know what I mean?
Well, see.
Every switch, everything.
And that's how it is in Mexico, though, huh?
Now it is, but I mean, on my generation, we experienced that switch of like graffiti was big. Like graffiti, we had like graffiti revistas and like wall meeting of styles. Like I remember for like TKO foods, they would go over there and do like big ass walls too. Like so, graffiti and the tag banging was really big. And then once the cartel thing came, like everybody's like, nah, f- feria, you know what I mean? Like we're getting locked up for petty shit. Like we might as well be making money. I mean, that was my thought personally. And then after that, everything just
Vámonos, Recio.
yeah, exactly.
Oh. So tell me more.
I mean, and
Well, tell us more.
yeah, but in school, I also started seeing a little. I always like more the tag banging thing. Like I've always been like the nerdy fool with the reading, and I was always like drawing. I would do pieces like in my crew. I was the one that did pieces and like murals and Lego shit. So I was always like into the creative
Like stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but I also like the like just being out here with the pochos. I also like the gang life. You know what I mean? Like the gang banging and all that. So I wasn't really tripping on like the cartel. I have friends like even like dressing different. I was still with my baggy shit and shit like that with my friends. But yeah,
You were like el skinny.
like
El señor de los
but,
cielos.
I haven't seen that. I haven't watched that
come
shit. Nah, I don't
on.
really. Nah, I don't
Listen,
really.
you gotta watch it.
Nah, I don't think so. Nah,
Not the first season. You gotta watch like the third and not the last season either.
Nah,
Those
I don't know
first-
about that.
Man, that's how I relate everything.
Okay.
No, seriously.
but I mean, yeah, that's kind of when the switch started happening, and then just seeing like friends like acknowledging their families passing shit like that. And then one day I just sat with my grandma también, and she started telling me all kinds, because I always with corridos with because it's what we listen out there, and it was like our gangster rap, but I would listen to rap too because éramos cholos allá, so
Sí.
like everybody listened to a little bit of both. And but eventually, like some names I heard in corridos, I heard my grandma say in her
¿Como
talks
quién?
and shit like that. Pues familias from Sinaloa, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So and I mean, even the ones you mentioned, like Ramon Arellano, I remember when he passed, like it was big news, like everywhere in Tijuana it was
No,
big
pues
news.
sí.
Everybody like we're in a family dinner cuando empezó el Jacob los Saludowski fue en el Canal 2. No, que noticia, que everybody was like, ay, güey, because he done killed like a bunch of people.
Bro,
He done
that
done
fool
a
was like
bunch
the
of shit.
man for like centuries, literally.
Yeah, exactly. So all that was big news and shit. So eventually, and then I started reading too. Like I started reading like cartel books and stuff like that, just because I like to read.
I like that kind. I like to learn about that. I know people are like, oh my gosh, she glorifies. No, I don't glorify shit.
No, but the
I
most
just like it.
The most interesting stuff is in books most of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, you gotta go dig the books up.
Look, I want to go participate. No, I'd rather just read and, you know.
Yeah. Just be aware. I mean, at the end of the day, it's part of Mexican culture, for good or for bad. It's there. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So
So your grandma was telling you things?
yeah, I kind of had a few talks with my grandma and stuff like that, and I even went to Culiacan with some of her friends, and not her family, but her friends that she used to like, the family she used to work for and stuff. I was young because when I started, ya me fui recio, you know what I mean? I was like, I've always been that all in type of guy. So like I meet up like this big señor and stuff like, hey, ya lo que sea, que andamos, like, you know what I mean? And lo que sea, we did it, you know what I mean? Whatever they needed, whatever.
Choice.
So
Yeah.
ya andaba ahí, you know what I mean? And then there was this guy in my neighborhood that he was that typical narco that good one, you know what I mean? The one that only works and doesn't kill, and that he helps like if there's it helps the people. If there's family members sick, he'll give them money. He'll raise shit up. He fixed the play the soccer center in the colonia where we play. He fixed it up. He made it all nice.
Oh, that's
and shit
very
like that.
nice.
Yeah, because all my friends play soccer. I didn't play soccer, but like all my friends, they were in teams, so we were spending that was a spot, the canchas, las canchas, you know, that's where we kicked it. All the hood was there, just watching the games, family and everybody.
I don't know what the
And,
cancha is.
The cancha is just
I know what it is, yeah.
So he saw me just all wild and shit, and he appreciated us already. Like I was like 17, 18.
Because you're already getting a little older now.
Yeah, 17, 18, and he just saw like we were wild and running around and shit. And then I was gonna cross a car one day for some dudes, for some like sketchy ass dudes. And but this time I was already like doing.
Run.
I was hooked on like pingas for like 6 months, 5 to 6 months maybe. But even before that, like I was already wild, but that shit just
Changed.
me valió verga like even more. You know what I mean? And
For the people that don't know, what is a
pingas is I think it's they're called Rivotril, clonazepam. I don't know the medical term or something, but most of the pharmaceuticals are like Xanax or all that stuff.
Okay.
They're kind of the same shit.
same
They numb you out. You don't remember what you did. You don't care. You're a little more crazy, like because you don't remember what you did. So you te vale vergas or whatever. You know what I mean?
No wonder these fools.
Yeah, and then they're pretty big out there for the same reason because a lot of people are doing crazy shit. So you pop one of those and you don't even remember. You know what I mean? But it's also like it sucks.
No, yeah, definitely.
So I mean, I was already wild, and then I was doing that shit. So I just started like doing dumb shit, like dumb, crazy, risky shit. And he found out, Don Sergio, en paz descanse. And he called me that same day. Like I was supposed to cross like 12, let's say. And he called me like at 10. He's like, hey, I need to meet you at the canchas. Like es urgente, whatever. So I really listened to him. He was like our father figure in a way because a lot of us didn't grow up with his fathers and shit. So he was kind of that guy. And he pulled up 2 pieces of paper of, it was car notes, car registrations. He's like, which one's the real one? And I couldn't really tell. And he's like, best way. And that's how you turn across a car. Like, you know what I mean? And he started like, me empezó a regañar.
Like lecturing you.
Yeah, and he called. He's like, hey, I want you to call that dude that you're gonna cross. I didn't know how he knew, but he was like, hey, I want you to call him and tell him you're not gonna go. So I was like, and I call, hey, wait, pues no voy a poder ir, whatever. And then if he's like, if they say something, just tell me, whatever. But they didn't say anything. And then after that, he was a pollero himself, but he did it like. He was the ones that made money, you know. He was big, so he was like, nah. From now on, like, you're gonna work for me, and you're gonna. He sent me do like the smallest stuff, but he would pay me good for it, just to try to keep me up. You know what I mean?
That's very nice. Yeah, because he knew.
He helped me like he started changing me in a way like he was like even dressing differently. Like, hey, wait, que te veas mejor, like, you know what I mean, and all that shit. Yeah, well, like shit that's supposed to, I guess, you know what I mean. But you learn it outside, yeah. And I really appreciate, like, I try to be that guy now because I was always the young one, and I always found like father figures and like the big homies and stuff. So I try to be one now for like the young kids and shit because like people like that actually like, genuinely care about. Like, hey, este güey va a cagar el palo, you know what I mean? So he helped me save up. I bought my own car and like all this stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
And then, but that's why when I got caught, I was helping him walk people across the border. Like we had fake papers that, not fake, but it was like people that looked like you, you know what I mean? And that didn't have like a stolen report and shit like that. And we would dress you up like, we would do the whole thing. If there were like working visas, we would dress you up like if like a construction worker or stuff like that. We had uniforms, we had the whole thing.
Yeah, because every visa is different.
Every visa is different. If it's for like a working guy, I'm going to cross you like dressed in construction and like at 5 a.m, 4 a.m, where all the construction workers are crossing. So I would literally just walk them across and then like get on the trolley and drop them off in like a few stations over and drop them off with the señora who pick them up. And then I would go back or sometimes get some money, sometimes get rid of cars because the cars that he used to cross, most of them were stolen. So once they were in here, we just get rid of them, you know what I mean? So sometimes I would get rid of the cars before I get out to TJ and stuff, and he would pay me really good. And eventually one of these guys that were following me, a girl, she snitched on me. They were like, how are you going to get along? He's like, no, pues él me llevaba. And then, show us in the camera. So next time I crossed, they got me. But at the same time.
And how long did you do this for?
For a few months, probably almost like 9 months, I would say. Or
almost a year?
Yeah, and then like even when I wasn't doing it, like he would give me money and stuff like that. So, but I mean, this is the hustle that.
This is the only time. This is what you could tell me. I understand.
And also like what I made money off and actually was steady and it wasn't like just doing random shit. You know what I mean? This was something that stayed there for a while. And
this
then
is part of your life. This is you like.
Yeah, I knew I had to wake up at a certain time and go train the guys or help.
Yeah, you were actually working.
Yeah, exactly. And then in the middle of that, like getting in trouble and stuff like that, where you gotta like. I was still.
Did you just have a walkie-talkie too, or?
Nah, but it was numbers and it's just when I don't know. Let's say I'm at a club and then I would fight some guy, or whatever. Usually, what they try to be like, yo soy gente, like I work for whatever this and that. And I would always be like, hey, wait, just you and me get down type stuff. You know what I mean? It's just.
I hate it. People always want to involve other people. Huh?
Yeah, I hate that shit. So I would like when stuff got serious. Either Don Sergio knew or I had to come and be like, hey, see, yeah, like. I hit him in the club, whatever, this and that. But I didn't tell him like no cartel shit. Like I didn't pull a gun on him. I didn't do nothing. Like tell his boss that we're gonna fix it.
Down,
yeah, tell his boss that we can fix it. Like no need to get other people. So it was always petty shit like that. You know what I mean?
You know what? That's like the worst thing. hate that. Like,
well, out there is very.
¿Qué es lo que tú y yo tenemos, lo que tiene que ver me and you? Le vamos a hablar a otras personas. Like, why you want to bother?
And then they be like, oh, es que he pulled a gun on me or shit like that. I'm like, nah, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's always,
yes, you want to act crazy?
yeah, they always trying to like exaggerate or something so they can get the backup and stuff. But I mean, I always had the backup with Sergio. He paid really well, so he had money and stuff. So we were kind of
yeah, you were good.
Yeah, we were good on that side. But I was always telling like, no, diles que la verga. It's just me and him. You know what I mean? Like, don't fucking worry about that shit. So eventually, yeah, it was.
Aquí lo matamos tú y yo.
Yeah. So eventually, I get caught and stuff like that. But this when they take me and they trying to charge me for like.
Wait, so the next time you went like try to cross, you were already being watched.
Yeah.
Did you have a feeling?
Yes. I have a sick story. No, I have a sick story.
Okay, go.
Not a feeling like that, but well, I had somebody with me, and then I crossed them, and then they let me get on the trolley. So I get on the trolley, and my pollo crossed, and then there was another guy that was doing the same thing as me, and his pollo didn't cross. So I know being the trolley is like the same thing as any trolley, just facing two people. You know what I mean? So it was my homie. The pollo, and then there was like a little weird white guy here, and then just people around, no? So I was telling my homie, I was like, hey, wait, I think this was undercover, perro. Y si es, güey, pues que chingue su madre. Like, go, ya que, güey, ya están aquí,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then later on that day, I get arrested. Like, we get to the station, we drop off, and then when the pickup comes, as soon as I open the door for the girl to get in, like, I start seeing these undercover cars pull up. So I was like, I remember close the door like this, like, valió ver, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they started talking shit, like, valieron ver, like all this shit. And then one guy pulled out my passport. He's like, hey, wait, we got a U.S. citizen. Hey, he's a U.S. Like, they thought I was illegal too or something. So I was like, oh, and then like, hey, están muy apretadas las esposas. You know what I mean? They started treating me a little bit better and stuff.
Oh, because you're American.
Because I was American. Yeah. Because they found my passport. Yeah. So they got me in the car and this and that, and they took me back to the border. Because I was caught in Chula Vista. They followed me up there. So they took me back. I was just wondering, like, ya valí ver. Like, I know I'm going to the MCC because that's where my family went. That's where my homies. That's where everybody goes for federal shit. So they take me to the office and stuff. They're like, hey, what time am I going to the MCC? And they're like, how do you know where you're going? I was like, I'm just wondering. Like, because I had in the
that's the process.
That's the cell, and I was in the cell, that up cell with a little blanket and shit. And they're like, tell us what you were doing and we'll ship you out right now. And I was like, nah, so I just I put my cobija on and I just kicked it there. And then I started thinking, and then obviously I made up some shit. I was like, hey, wait, what time you send me back to MCC? What time you send me to MCC? He's like, you ready to tell us what's up? I was like, I'm ready. So they took me to the office, and I was like, hey, but I need to tell my mom that where I'm at because I was supposed to do something for her, whatever. So she wasn't answering on their phone. So they actually like took my phone out from the little bag that was ringing hard. Like they were calling me. So I called my mom from my phone. I was like, no, pues estoy arrestado, estoy en la oficina. ¿Qué va a pasar? I was like, no, pues puedes venir por mis cosas. You can come pick some shit up. And then after that, I don't know what's up.
Yeah.
So now I tell my mom, and they're like, all right, so what were you doing? So I just make up on the spot, just improvise like a sick ass. Oh, I was in a taxi, and then this is the number that they gave me of the taxi. So I don't really know the guy. What's your boss's name? I don't know. They call him like Lil Chaparrito. As for, I don't, there's a tons of you know what I mean? So I just kind of said all this crazy shit. Whereas if somebody got papers up, they'll be laughing, you know. If Don Sergio read that shit, like, este cabrón, you know what I mean? But I was trying to get out of it. Yeah. So like they sent me to. It was all fake, but I still admitted what I did. So like they're
just like it could be you by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And then which to the point it eventually got to like just aiding and abetting. It wasn't really like not transporting or crossing.
Oh, good.
It was just because I was like, hey, no, they're not in my car. They're just following me. Like, you know what I mean? They're not in my possession. They could walk away whenever they want, basically. You know what I mean? So it was just aiding and abetting. So my sentencing was 60 days.
No, hombre.
And la federal, yeah, wait. But 3 years probation. That's what I was saying, where you're back in the cell and everybody's like talking about their conspiracies. And I knew a bunch of these girls, some of them even from the streets, and they all knew what we all did and stuff like that. So like, no, güey, la conspiración de ese, 10 años de ese. I was like, a la verga.
Voy a decir nada.
I just like quiet and stuff. ¿Qué onda, Tijuana? ¿Y tú qué pedo, la verga? Nah, güey, I'm chilling. Like, nah, pues.
No quiero decir nada.
Like, la neta, güey, yo me voy rápido, pero I think, güey, I have a feeling, you know what I mean? Like, this and that. So I kind of just chill and stuff. And it was all right, whatever. I got there and I got back to the MCC.
So tell me about when you first got to MCC.
Okay.
Or
like the process?
yeah, like tell me because obviously it's your first time getting arrested.
I'm 19.
You're 18. Is your first time getting arrested? You've never been arrested?
Yeah, a bunch of and TJ, yeah, and USA.
Wait,
no.
well, you know what? Well, tell me about your first time getting arrested in TJ.
Oh no, in TJ.
Because los policías son a little bit more rough, no?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, tell me about Tijuana.
The first time out there, we're like, it used to be called El SEMI, which is CMI, which stands for Correccional de Menores Infractores, which is correctional for minor infractors or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but it was El SEMI was big among the streets and teenagers because like everybody got there from all these places, so it was fighting. Whenever you got there, if you weren't with like 5 other fools, you had to fight for your shoes. You had to fight for all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? So, I was lucky the first time I got to El Semi because it was like they got us out of a party. We were at a party acting a fool, and then the cops showed up, and we just started throwing bottles at them, and they got it, and they se juntaron un chingo de placas. They went in the house. They took everybody. So even in the patrulla, we're like singing. We're hitting the patrullas at those big ass vans. So we just till we got there, you know what I mean? But then we got there and it was like some of the homies were already older, so they went to the los mayores, and but they sent us like 7 of us to the so nobody was, we were just chilling there, and like everybody was cool, nothing was cool. We nos pusimos the homie's last name, which is like he was like 20 something already, so he got, hey, they're all my brothers, you know what I mean? We didn't have IDs or anything, so we could be whoever, you know what I mean? There's no computer back then and nada, so or like Pedro Sanchez, Fernando Sanchez, I don't know, you know what I mean? And the homie showed up and, hey, son mis hermanos, so you know what I mean? Or the homie's sister, the older sister would pull out, hey, son mis hermanos type shit. So that's how we get picked up. If nobody was there to pick you up and you just got picked up like in a party or some stuff like that, you would get you have to work. Basically, like you have to clean up the cocina, you would take out the trash, like
Pero ¿cómo se ve?
Oh, it's look, so one of the times I got there, you get there and then it's the processing thing, you put everything like your shoelaces, all that shit, but you keep regular clothes on, and then they take you out back to some cells. And there's a big ass cell just for people for the one-nighters that get picked up at night. But it's right next to it to the people that are getting processed. There's another next to that cell. There's a little people that are getting processed. And next to that cell, there's 3 cells, which is the hole for the fools from the building that get taken out here. So like when you show up, you get all, you know what I mean? These fools are talking shit to you. They're like, hey, wait, que no sé qué. So like the guards will open the cells up for those fools to come jump. And those fools, some of those fools, like it's for minors, but some of those fools are like 20 something already, but they look a little bit, either they look young a little bit or something, but they would open the cells up and you have to fight those fools or whatever, if they were from like a rival or some shit. So
diferentes colonias.
It get rough. Yeah, it get rough. And even the cops will hit you too. Like I remember this one time.
You got hit?
Yeah, I got there and I had a big ass baggy sweater, and like a quarter got stuck in the pocket. So by the time they take all your clothes out, when first they take the shoelaces and everything, and then they put everything in a bag with your name, and then you get taken to the patio where you take all your clothes off and you do like some fucking like some sentadillas type shit. And then when I was taking my clothes off so they could check the clothes, like a quarter fell out. And
oh shit.
And the homie's like, he saw that it was mine, so he's like, a ver, levanta las manos, and I went like this, and bam, he got me right here, and it's just one of those where he just fucking bam, and you know what I mean? It's one of those. And then, ahora párate, and he just kept going with everybody.
And they search you guys, like they make you guys cough y todo eso?
Not really, nah. They just like they wouldn't even take our boxers. It was just up to the boxers, and then I remember I took my pants and a little paper clip fell out too. And it fell out next to me, and I kicked it to the homie to the next side. They found it on the homie and they got the same thing.
Oh no.
I was like, hey perro, ya me habían dado uno, güey. I wasn't gonna take another one.
Yeah, take it for the team.
Yeah, perro, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was just shit like that. And then that was just like one-nighters. That was my first time. That was just there. I took a one-night, salimos. We cleaned up the patio, the cocina, and everything. And then at 6 a.m, they just lay you out with your little baggie, and then.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then it was a mission for us because it's right on the highway, like on the Vía Rápida. Like you gotta walk far to get taxis and shit like that, and that's not even close to my hood. So we have to walk at least 3 miles, at least maybe, to like a place where a bus drove through that went all the way to a hood. So we were like, hey, acabamos de
Hey,
salir,
Tijuana's
traemos 10.
big.
Yeah, and we were like, hey, traemos 10 pesos, somos tres, háganos el paro. And they're like, arre, pues súbete.
Sí.
And then we got to the hood, and then we got off the bus, and then we get to the tortilleria, and we're like, oiga, nos da 10 pesos de tortilla, 5 pesos de chicharrón and queso. So we'd be like with the salsa, we would have a little breakfast and shit, and then arre, güey, we go to sleep, and then we meet up at, en la tarde otra vez.
Damn, that's
But-
good right now.
Yeah. But I mean, that started becoming like, I would get taken like 3 times a week sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, en la noche, we were always at night. So they're starting, like, and then the cops knew I was en desmadroso. So as soon as they see me, like, hey, vas para arriba. So I was one of those, like, we would get taken.
Wait, Dad, did you ever come across any like the crooked cops?
No, always, yeah. But I when this is when I'm like 15, 16. So we didn't really have money like that. Okay. So you know what I mean? And the cops in those days, after I knew a lot of them for other reasons, they were like, nah, we gotta fill out the paper, like boletas. Like sometimes the cells were empty, so we gotta
pretend.
You know, everybody would find, like sometimes I would get taken with my ID. Supposedly they would take you because you had no ID, but I started carrying my school ID, and then les valía verga.
Yeah, they just wanted to take you guys in.
So I got taken at least 30 to 40 times.
Oh, damn.
At least. So I spent, sometimes I got there with the homie, and then like he didn't have nobody to pick him up. So I just call my family and be like, hey, estoy con el frijol, and I'm gonna do the night with him because nobody's coming to pick him up. You know what I mean?
That was very nice.
So now we were always doing that for like the homies and stuff. We're like, hey, pues nadie, like hay que quedarnos, you know what I mean? So nos quedamos because we knew it was rough in there, you know what I mean? Like, so once we got there.
So you want That's crazy.
Yes.
Well, it's because you guys already knew that you guys were going to get released.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're like nighters or either, if anything, like a day or 12 hours type thing.
So you've never done more than that?
And TJ, the day I got caught for like, that I was going to do some time was for tagging. And then that's when money and stuff came in and shit like that. So my mom, that's when I call my mom. But but before that, like all those little stuff, like, it was even when I was driving cars, they would put me over and I would like they would give me, let's say, I don't know, $5 a day at school for lunch. I would save that shit to give to the cops on the weekends when I was driving. I'd be like, I'm gonna save those $20. So like, si me para,
if I
get pulled over, yeah. So
that's the way it is.
Yeah, so I was already doing that and stuff. But when they wanted to take you and they weren't taking money, they would just take you, you know. So I went through a lot of those, and it's just. Like, even when I got caught for graffiti, I did do like, I was there for like a week and a half or something.
And well, how's the food? Or is it like, because you know, like in the novelas, like they take you, like your family has to take you the food and all of that? Like, how, I mean, like the showers? Tell me about it, all of that.
When I was there, like my mom would go visit, but she could tell you, like every time she went, I had different clothes on, different shoes, because like when I got there,
damn fool, they were taking your shit or what?
Nah, well, I had to fight because some fool had better shit than me. And then I took a shit. And then some other fool came and were like, hey, wait, ese güey trae no sé qué. Like, from celdas, like, man, we were in cells like in an L, right? So we could see from the cell like this. I would make them give me their colchón or their shit like that just because.
Yeah, you're a mean bully.
Nah, well, you got to in that. Like, I learned the hard way. You know what I mean? Like,
you had to do it. I'm just talking shit, but
when I was there, like I was next to the fools from the hole, so they were making me do all kinds of shit. Like, hey, wait,
so they could take it.
They were like, hey, wait, jump that fool. No, at first they were like, hey, jump that fool. So, you know, we're gonna get you like this and that. So like when they went entrando, they were like, pam, 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 we just go at it. And I was already there I already made homies that I jumped before, so we were jumping as they came. So now like I had a little like knowledge of how shit went. Yeah. So when fools came out, and I was like, hey, wait, like I did the same thing. You know what I mean? So like my mom would visit me, and they were allowed to bring you stuff, but I wasn't really hungry, like, you know what I mean? It's just in a weird spot, like, yeah, me tomaba la soda, and it kind of felt good, but it was like, you can't really enjoy it, because you're gonna, you know what I mean? You go back, and it was actually kind of like, chale, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just a process, because I knew.
Hey, were you able to keep the envase, or did you put it in the bag?
Nah, you gotta throw it away where you were, like, visiting, and you throw it away right there.
Unless you have to put it in a bolsita.
Nah, they throw it away, and then but in the cafeteria, it was rough, like no talking, or not, like, strict as fuck, and everybody, like, you know, these fools are spitting in your shit. You know what I mean? Like, because we're all young, we're all teenagers, so todos somos más desmadrosos, you know, than normal. At least when we're adults, we kind of like, you know what I mean? We don't.
In Mexico, you guys are worse over there.
Yeah. So like, and then they're talking shit under that. You know what I mean? Like, wait, tu vieja se la están cogiendo, or like just. But where you can't say shit, you know, you're just going around. And then even if you have some leftovers and you're like, hey, wait, te cambio esa madre por esa madre, like they can see us, or like as soon as they walk, boom. And then, we, you know what I mean? So it was like that. And yeah, if you're talking, they would make you stand up, levanta las manos, tas, and then you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
and then plus inside, like the little fighting with, because we're all young, we're all full of energy. I remember another time I got there for graffiti, I had some sick ass, you know, the Cholo Reeboks just with the R right here, they're all white. I just had those for my birthday.
You're all happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember all my shit. I was wearing like my birthday, you know what I mean? Yeah, my birthday outfit, and I got taken to the cops. And then I remember it was El Ramek de la Zona Norte. I don't know if he's still alive or anything, but it was a big ass fool. I think he was already like 21 or something. And when I got there, I was like 16, and I remember they had me waiting like against the fence, and in back of me it's what they call El Área, which is just like a dorm, a big ass dorm room. So all those fools are there. So this fool Ramek, he pulls up and he's like, "Hey, wait, tan perros tus tenis, way." You know what I mean? And I remember I looked at my shoes. I fucking like, "Ay, way," and I looked at that fool. You know what I mean? I was like, he's like, "¿Te vas a pegar el tiro or what?" I was like, "Oh, unfortunately, yeah." Like this is gonna cost me. Dog. It's gonna, you know, I'm not gonna be like, you know, this is gonna cost me.
Yeah.
And then like in the movies, I hear this hero voice like, "Hey, wait, that's my homie from the hood." I was like, "Oh shit!" And Ramek's like, "¿Conoces ese güey?" And I looked, and it was a homie from the hood. Like he's been locked up for like 2 years already. We didn't even remember him a little bit.
Yeah.
We were young. So I was like, "Oye, güey, el Drupi, Simón, es mi compa."
El Drupi.
Tienes suerte, perro. Yeah, rest in peace, el Drupi. He was like, "Hey, tienes suerte, güey, que no sé qué." So like, he's like, "Está bien, todo bien. Soy el Ramek de la zona," whatever. I was like, "Está bien," you know. And then after that, like the homie, he's been there forever. So not forever, but 2 years for a young.
That's a long time.
That's a lot of time. So he was running this shit. So I was like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I got there. Yeah, after that, I was good for the week and shit. But like, I was always fighting in those one-nighters and stuff. It was always fighting. It was always fighting.
That is terrible.
Other kid. Yeah. So that's why whenever we had friends that nobody was gonna pick them up, so like, hey, wait, like when you choose to stay, you have fun. You know what I mean? When you have nobody pick you up, you're fucking like chale. You know what I mean? But when we're like, hay que quedarnos, güey. You know what I mean? Like, chinga su madre. So we just say that we had fun. You know what I mean? Fuck it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's cool. I mean, it's cool that you guys already had it like that, though, that you knew you were going to get released and vamos a dejar solo.
Yeah, we're I mean, at least my crew, I think my generation too, we're really into that like
unity,
yeah, like brotherhood type shit. We're all hang out every day. Pretty sure you know how it is, like just every day with the friends, every day. It was ditch school, whatever. So yeah, we're like brothers, to be honest. Like we knew our families. They're all like same families that came from other places.
Yeah.
So it was like that unity, you know what I mean?
Cool.
So yeah, we weren't gonna let anybody like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one time two friends went out tagging, and one of them told him, "Hey, somebody's coming," but he ran when I told him. And then the other fool almost got caught and stuff like that. So le tuvimos que sopapear. No, like, "Hey, wait, why you leaving him alone?" Like,
yeah.
Pues no corrió. Like, so yeah, well, you know, you gotta wait till he runs. Wait, ¿qué tal si no? You know, so we would check each other. But we're bullies like amongst ourselves. Like whenever new people try to hang around, and sometimes they couldn't hang, and they went to their more tranquilos crew, you know what I mean? And then the others, like our crew were the bullies. We're always fighting. We're always like the cops chasing. We were those guys, but people us like big time.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was coming home from, not coming home, I was going to the hood from the Lowrider concert, the Lowrider show, the Lowrider magazine show they did at the Qualcomm back in like 2005 or some shit. I remember Mr. Little One was performing, like all these guys. And as soon as the taxi was dropping me off, me and my friend, another friend turned the corner, and he was like watery eyes, and he was bleeding and shit like that. "Hey, wait," because there were some guys, some deportees from Logan, like they were young, but they couldn't go back, so they were leaving there, and they jumped him for whatever reason. They were his neighbors, so like, "Hey, wait, los putos de Logan me brincaron, this and that." So like all my homies were like, "Hey, wait, I'm so like I still have my bag of goodies from the concert and you know what I mean, the Lowrider show." So I just dropped them off at the house, and we started running towards where we thought they were, and like I remember some señoras that we knew, and like they all knew us. They were like, "Hola, mijo, es el hijo de Lupita, es el hijo," you know what I mean?
Sí.
So I remember one señora saw us, and she seen them jumping the home, and they're like, "Allá van," you know what I mean? Like, "Hey, allá van over there." And so so we went and we caught them, and we went show up to his house, and we fought and all this shit. They pulled out cuchillo. Now it got crazy, but yeah, we're we're the bullies. But at the end of the day, I think people knew we weren't doing.
meant well.
We weren't meth heads. We weren't we weren't stealing. We caught a few guys like stealing. I remember one guy, we jumped some fools that robbed a señora right there, and like we.
Yeah, you guys were. No, I understand.
Yeah, we were that kind. You know what I mean? We weren't doing bad and like in drugs and shit. So we weren't like.
That's always a plus.
Yeah.
Like, son desmadrosos, pero aunque sea saben lo que están haciendo y no están ahí. Like you're not like hurting the ladies and the people. You're doing your thing, but not the people.
Yeah, exactly. So
Al contrario, you're helping.
Yeah, that's why I think the community, like, even though they knew, like, estos cabrones, you know what I mean? Because I mean, like, and you see me, like, running from in el carro, like, cars behind, and around the neighborhood. And
no, I believe that.
Yeah. so yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I love my community. Like, every time I go over there to the hood, I go visit my friend's house, like my mom, their mom, and then just go to the little tienditas and everything. Just you know what I mean? Because they remember me and I remember them, and it's just like
that's what it is.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
I understand. Okay, so now let's move a little bit more forward. So you got arrested. You're in the feds. You didn't tell me about your process, like when you actually got arrested. You just told me that. The man was sitting. Wait, that man. What did he have something to do with it?
Yeah. So I'm in the office and I'm telling him like, yeah, I got picked up in this taxi, whatever. So a guy opens the door, and the door is in the back of me, and he walks to the front, and he's like, hey, what's up, man? You don't recognize me? And I was like, nah, like, should I or what? He's like, I was sitting in back of you when you thought the guy next to you was the undercover cop, and you were saying some stuff in Spanish that I can't remember. I was like, chinga tu madre, whatever. And I was like, and I started laughing. I was like, because I'm soy travieso, you know what I mean? So I laugh at my own son. So I was like, hijo de su bitch. So I was just laughing. I was like, I mean, I didn't know. He's like, how did you know? I was like, I didn't.
You just felt
I just kind of like, I was like, I've been scoring too much, you know what I mean? I've been scoring too many goals, like some shit, some shit.
You can't win for too long.
Yeah, so that happened. I do the whole process. They put me in a van and they drive me to MCC. So I'm going from San Isidro all the way to downtown, just fucking like, wow, just looking at everything.
Because now you're an adult stuff.
And I'm just remembering, like, I have a bunch of friends that have been there, like even family. I remember when my mom and grandma was in there, I remember being like, I couldn't go in there. So like, an uncle was like, he was taking care of me while my other aunts were visiting. So like, ahí está tu mamá, pero está bien. Like, try to calm me down. And I would see this big brown building and shit like that. And I was like when you're young, you're like, yeah, like, what's up? And then just pulling up to that building and then going inside and as being processed and stuff. I was like, fuck, like, I didn't want this, but I was kind of ready for this, you know what I mean? But it's a weird feeling. So, yeah, I mean, the whole process was just sitting there and then you just meeting I was the youngest. I was like, I was barely turning 19. So, and I looked very young too. So everybody else had like this big ass conspiracies and all that stuff. And I knew a lot of these people who they worked with and stuff like that just for being around Don Sergio, because
Don Sergio was a man. Yeah,
he would take me to Culiacan and like he would take me as this, a conference, and I would meet people with him and stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's how I kind of like knew some big names. And but I was seeing like all the like sitting on that detective medals and stuff. I was like, what this time, man, qué pedo? They put something right here or some shit like that, and just doing the whole process. And then
you put your head?
Yeah, where you put your head. Yeah, I don't know. I remember that shit, but it was weird because I've never been through all the process like that. Even though my first approach with prison, we kind of need to go back, is when my dad was in jail in Mexico and they called it Pueblito. Like, you could actually go visit. There was families living in there and shit like that.
Oh, what?
So yeah, so that
okay, so you went, when you were small, you went to El Pueblito. That's the name of the prison.
It used to be. Now it's a prison, but in the 90s, it was called El Pueblito just because it was a little pueblito. Like, you will go in there, there's families living there.
Inside the prison?
Inside the prison, like people walking around, like...
Como nada?
Like a pueblito, yeah, straight up tienditas and like, visiting areas. Everybody was there with the families and chilling, but there was people that lived there. There was kids living there.
Oh, you know what I mean? Dang.
Yeah, so that was my first like approach.
Experience.
Yeah, with
going into a prison in Mexico.
Yeah,
that's like, and that's what I was like. I was looking forward to hear like your story, because my cousin Lupe, shout out to my cousin Lupe, right?
Shout out, yeah.
He was like, no, you should hear his story. He has stories, like, and I'm like, okay, like, but in Mexico, that's like the main purpose, because I never had a paisa here.
I know that. That's why I wanted to pull up to all these shows because I'm like, where's the representation of the real paisa? You know what I mean?
I'm super Mexican. I consider I'm fucking paisas. I always say I'm fucking paisas, but you get what I'm saying. Like you actually grew up in Mexico. You've been arrested in Mexico lots of times. You went, like you said, you're about to tell me your experience as as a young man going into the Mexican prison to visit your dad.
Yeah.
To the pueblito, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My dad. Oh, he was a cop. He was a federal cop out there. But then,
dang.
yeah, he was doing all kinds of
Bad shit.
Yeah, all kinds of bad shit. Like there were times where we found him in the apartment tied up and beat up and shit like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, on that side, I was I have a lot.
You're just meant to be.
I have a lot of traumas, you know. So
see.
So like all that, you know what I mean. So yeah, he eventually was in jail, and yeah, I went to visit him. I think my little sister was with us and my mom. And I mean, obviously, my mom didn't want to take us, but she always knew my father was the bad example, but she was never trying to keep us away from him. You know what I mean? She was like, "You're gonna know what he is." You know what I mean? I'm not gonna hide him from you because you're gonna know. Like,
yeah,
it didn't take too much to know like he was. You know what I mean? So we're always like visiting him and stuff like that, but we always had to visit him like in these sketchy places, like jail, or like he would be living in La Zona Norte in like this, like hotels, like, you know what I mean? Like those crack hotels type looking type. And I would have to take like my sister, and I wouldn't want to, like, you know what I mean? Because
está feo.
Yeah, like, las paraditas afuera and like all kinds of crackheads and conectas and all kinds of shit. Zona Norte is like a big active place despite the Cahuila.
I know it.
Yeah, just to give a little context.
No, which I love. I was about to say that's like where the Cahuila is.
Yeah, and I mean, people see the Hong Kong street and it's very nice and illuminated stuff, but
no,
everything that's around it is like it's like when Mufasa tells his son, like, hey, out there it's crazy. It is. So he was staying in little hotels like that, so I would have to take my sisters to visit him there and stuff like that, which it wasn't cool. But I mean, it was our dad, you know what I mean? So yeah, jail and prison, that was the first time I seen it, El Pueblito, when I was in there. So now getting to MCC, this is like locking abroad type stuff, you know what I mean? Like gangland and all that shit that you see on TV. So the whole process and everything, and then I get to the 7th floor, and it's for people who have been in MCC, 7 and 8 floors are dorms. So it just ranges 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 5, 6, and 7, 8, and it's 2 floors. So it's just a bunch of noise in the middle. Where they take you, put you in the middle where the food tables are at, and you see all these ranges that are around you. So it's just a bunch of noise and stuff. I was sure as hell that there was gonna be somebody that I knew. You know what I mean? You never know who, but I was like, I know there's gonna be somebody. And then so I'm just waiting till they tell me what range I'm going to, and then I hear, "Hey, qué tranza, perro? What's up?" So I was describing, rest in peace, El Cruel. Pero you know that character Gollum in Lord of the Rings? Mm-hmm. You know how he's like, they keep him around even though he's sneaky, but sometimes he's helpful, but you can't turn your back on him?
Yeah.
Well, this was that guy, El Cruel de la Zona Norte, he's people are gonna know he was that guy. I was like, I'm happy that he's here, but I don't know, you know what I mean? He's not really, you know what I mean? So I got there, he's like, hey, wait, come on, this and that. Yeah. Whatever. He looked like Bart Simpson. He looked like a little Bart Simpson. I was like, hey, wait, this and that. But I got you, bro. He gave me some soup. You know what I mean? They were on lockdown because they were fighting with I think they fought with the Sureños. I think there was a little conflict with the Paisanos and the Sureños, so they locked everybody up, and they weren't getting like commissary and stuff. So they gave me some stuff. Well, he gave me like a little supper and something, but then they took me to the repra, and then they were like, "Hey, wait, este es el repra, y tú eres paisa, this and that." Because first they were like, since they were on lockdown when they first took me and they were putting everybody to the ranges, they were like, the cops were like, hey, eres paisa sureño? And I was like, no, pues paisa. Like, and they're like, okay. And then they separated me with the guy I was locked up with. I was talking to him and he was cool, but I guess he was like from a gang and I don't know if it was like Pozole gang or something like that, somewhere in San Diego. There's a Pozole gang out there. I don't know. Yeah. But, so he was from somewhere, but he was cool. But then they separated us and they're like, oh, no, tú pa' allá, tú pa' allá. I was like, ay, wait. And then we got to like, oh, shit, that's the way they're fighting. Yeah. And they're like, oh, so some of those paisas, they gave me like little stuff. Ahorita no tenemos mucho because we're on lockdown, pero el cruel, güey. They're like, cuidado con ese, güey. I was like, I know, perro. I know this food from outside, and just keep this is whatever. And they're like, all right, we just trying to see if you're wearing like him, and like it's the way he was already doing some sneaky shit. So yeah, so I get there and like I see I'm the youngest, so I'm still like, you know what I mean, like like, don't know what to expect. Like, and then I see another guy, he was my age, and he was also a tagger guy, and he was a pollero and stuff, so I became cool with him. And then I was only there for, well, I didn't know yet. I wasn't sentenced, but...
Yeah, so how long were you fighting your case for?
So, the thing is, when I got locked up, I got released on bail. So, I was going to court, like, outside.
Ah, you got bailed out.
Yeah, I got bailed out. And so, I get sentenced, and then that I turn myself in.
How was that? How was the turning yourself in? How did you feel?
Well, I don't know, to be honest. It was weird. Cause like, go turn yourself in, you know what I mean? Like, but I did it 2 times. But the first time that I had to go turn myself in, I remember my grandpa took me, rest in peace, my grandpa. And nothing, man. I just tried to feel like calm. I couldn't smoke on the pre-trial, so that day I hotboxed the car. Like, I was with the homies just smoking and everything. So I got there like high, and but I don't know. It was weird. I already know I was gonna do a little bit of time, so I was good. Like, everybody, like my mom, my friends are like, "Hey, wait, 2 meses, you know, yo te mando, you know what I mean? Vas a estar bien, you know." So it was cool and everything. But what really tripped me off was the probation. The 3-year probation. I knew that shit was gonna be.
Okay, so
I knew that's gonna be.
Turn yourself in for those 2 months. Where did you do your time there?
MCC. Yeah. Well. So I got built. I get to the 7th floor. As soon as I get locked up, I get to MCC. I get to the 7th floor, Etal Cruel and them. But then they send me to the 11th floor, which is like the medics with like the los enfermos and shit. Like, not the enfermos, but like the older people. Like, they're sentenced, but they're like I don't know. It was just a bunch of like white dudes and some paisas, but like they just worked and mind their business. They were older. Everybody was like, you know what I mean? I think that's what the you know, a little bit piece. And I don't know, because they were all sentenced and shit. But that night they let me out because I was bailed, but I was on process and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I get out, whatever, and then I have to turn myself in. And then this time I turned myself in, and I was like, pues, I'm going to MCC. You know, I turned myself in the federal building in the federal courts. And I was like, hey, so what time I go? The MCC is in a tunnel. Like, you just walk to the MCC. And they're like, MCC? No, that's just filled up right now. I was like, cabrón. So where am I going? Probably Geo. I was like, chale, because I used to be county. So está bien feo ese edificio. Like, it's just, I was like, Geo, that shit sucks. So they take me to Geo, which is just like a couple blocks from there. And now it's at news because you kind of feel familiar with MCC. You know what I mean? There's people already there that you knew. You know what I mean? So I was like, you kind of.
And you've never been to Geo?
No. I never even heard of it. I just seen fools in the green uniform and the transfers and stuff, but I never heard of it. I never knew.
Yeah.
So I get there and it's like county. It smells bad and shit. And I'm with my clothes, my regular clothes, and I was already dressing like nice, you know what I mean? Like, because Don Sergio had made me like wear nicer clothes and shit. Plus, to be honest,
you gotta be on the cover, bro.
To be honest, I did some stuff when I was like in the baggy side, and that I was too paranoid for people to recognize me that I just switched even by myself. Like, I start dressing differently and stuff. So I'm there and I'm just kicking it there with all my night clothes, and then I see a fool, like one of the orderlies, and he's looking at me and shit. He's like, ¿Qué onda, güey? ¿Eres homie o paisa? And I was like, paisa. And like, hey, güey, mira, te guardo los tenis because they're gonna take them, güey. Y si quieres te los guardo y te los doy aquí adentro. Le dije, hey, güey, they're black, güey. They're not gonna let me keep them. Le dije, yeah, you know what I mean? He thought I was just getting there. Le dije, nah, güey, todo bien. Y la madre me dice, ¿de dónde eres? Le dije, de Tijuas. He said, oh, yo soy Chicali, güey. Y I was like, está bien, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, so he was in a big dorm with like, there were like 60 to 100 paisas.
Yeah, all the workers probably, huh?
No, all the paisas, but everybody was being processed. Nobody was there doing the time. It was just like processing. But there were like 60 paisas. And I remember the guards took me out and they were like, le dije, hey, so the paisas are over there? And they're like, nah, te voy a poner acá. There was like some other cells for like 12 people. But then he took me to like the blacks. And then I remember I looked and they were like, even then we're like, hey, wait, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no, he's going to go in there. I was like, nah, chale, le dije, I'm not going to go in there. Me said, nah, you'd rather go to the hole? I was like, well, there's 60 paisas over there. Le dije, why don't you put me over there? And I was like, nah, because you belong here. And then even the blacks were in the door just waiting, like, what's going to happen? You know what I mean?
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, hell yeah. I was like, este güey, ¿qué trae? You know what I mean? I thought he was, dije, some bitchy guard that wants me to get beat up, or I don't know what. So I was like, nah, way, like, you take me to the hole, take me to the paisa dorm.
Don't throw me in there.
I'm young, I'm fucking, you know what I mean? Like, I'm probably like 20, turning 20, because when I got sentenced and I got caught, a little few months difference, but I'm either
You're
19 or 20, yeah. So I can't even fight one of those fools, you know what I mean? I will, but I'm yeah, you know what I mean? So now 12, you know what I mean? No mames. So I was like, nah, like, I just feel like that. He's like, está bien, me dice. And then he took me back to the desk. And then, like, he left, and another guard took me to the paisa dorm. So I was like, you know what I mean? And they put me in the bed. And he's like, hey, wait, te dieron esa cama? Like, they gave you that bed? I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. He's like, and then that fool turned around, and he's like, se murió el González, güey. Like, the guy that was there, he was bad, he was sick. So they took him to the infirmary room, and I guess he died. And that's why they weren't trying to give me a bed there, because they thought it was full. But then they got the news that, oh no, ya hay una cama, because this fool just died in the hospital.
Se murió González.
Se murió González.
Oh, that's
so I got that. Fuck that. I got his bed. I didn't want to be in that other stuff. And so yeah, I got there, and they were looking at me like, este pinche morrillo fresa, because I was dressed nice and I was peinadito like de lado a little bit and such shit. So, but I was desmadroso, like, so I was just listening to fools and
because you were still wearing your own clothes.
No. By this time they saw me, because they could see me to where I was at, so you know what I mean. So they could, and plus the other guy that saw me, he went in there. He's like, hey, ton paisa, ahí viene un tijuas and this and that, whatever. So they were kind of trying to treat me like, try to punk me a little. Not punk me, but they're like,
como que era un niño fresa, sí.
Yeah, yeah. So I showed up, like, even when I got my shit, like, hey, güey, ¿cuál es mi cama? Y un güey was like, yo no sé, güey, yo no soy el repra. And he just me mandó you know what I mean? So I was like, chale. And then otro way, there was like, hey, wait, I think that's the bed, because, you know, always the cool one. I was like, Simón. So I just doing my bed and shit. That's when they came in. Hey, wait, they gave you the bed, Simón. Oh, and that's when that happened. And they started telling me, like, hey, wait, there's not really a repra here, because we're all on transfer or whatever, pero pues nomás tranqui, like, keep your shit clean, you know, the regulars. So yeah, I just started like, asking for any tijuas around, whatever. And the guy that told me, like, yo no soy repra, he ended up being my cool ass friend. Like, he ended up being my homie after that.
He was tijuas?
Yeah, he was tijuas. And then we just became really cool. Like, we just became really cool after that. Once they knew, like, because there's the thing, I was always going to fight another tijuas that was there, but he was acting like, este pinche, like, you know what I mean? Like, fresa, whatever, que sabe, you know? And then we almost got at it, and then some folks, like, separated us and shit. So I remember I was in, it was my birthday, and I was asleep, but I was kind of waking up, and I heard those fools, like, talking about me. There were a few bits around me. And
damn, what did they say?
It was the orderly, and then it was the fool I was going to fight, and the fool that became my homie later on. The fool that became my homie, he's like, hey, wait, es cumpleaños de este güey, hay que darle, like, let's get him, like, a little honey bun or something, and no sé qué, because there was a few days already, I've been talking to him, he was cool. And he's like, and then the other fool's like, sí será su cumpleaños, yo no sé. Like, they were talking, and then the other fool's like, ese güey sabe la vera, he thinks he's all like this and that, whatever, pero que ni me diga nada, because like, I'm, you know, this and that. So I wake up, and they're like, hey, ¿qué onda, tijuas? Que feliz cumple, like, you know, you try to be. So I'm just getting my stuff, and then a señor came in, like, he was just got arrested where he got there. And the orderly, he was a dude from Mexicali, le decían el Chago, he's probably known, and he's like compadre de Larry Hernandez, and he's kind of like, he lied a lot, but he was a little bit, so he was kind of known among the world and shit like that. And the guy was going to fight. He was by my neighborhood, so he knew about people too that I knew and that we were connected, no? But I didn't really talk about this at this point. So when the señor came in,
he knew you.
Not yet, but he sits down with them and they start talking. And el guy from Mexicali, he's like, hey, señor, usted. And then he's like, no, yo en Culiacán, this and that, because he came in a big conspiracy. So now they are looking into the señor, like, oh, el señor, you know what I mean? And this and that. And then on the talk, he mentions some homies. And I told him, like, hey, Alejandro es mi amigo. Yeah, and they all looked at me like, and the señor was like, Alejandro, le dije, yeah, his brother this and that, his mom is this and that. Alejandro is the guy that when my homie was in the car talking to somebody, and my homie looked and he's like, hey, that's Alejandro. Okay. So he was my homie at this point, and his family and everybody, so I knew. So I was like, yeah, Alejandro, this and that, whatever. And then when the señor was like, Simón, he stood up, he shook my hand, he's like, oh, no, see, and we started talking. Those fools, yeah, like that. I see. Yeah, they were like, orale. And one fool was like, si conoce el tonto, you know what I mean? Like, este güey, sí, like, eventually, like, except for the guy that was gonna fight, that fool still hated me. Like, I even met up again at California City. I le mandé decir, like, hey, si quiere, like, we'll get it on the cell. He didn't want to, so, like, he was just a hater. But the other fool became my real close homie because I kept seeing him, like, through the process. And then Chago was just with me after that. He was like, está bien, güey, que el Tijuas. And so after that, like, I started having those conversations with, because, you know, it opens that circle to those type of conversations, you know what I mean? But then I was only a week there. They sent me up to the second floor. Then I met some other people there. And then from there, they sent me to California City, up there by Victorville almost, in the desert. That's where I met Mr. Little One. And that's how I got the podcast with him and stuff like that. Cause,
so how long did you end up doing in California City? Because you only got how long?
Wait! I'm tripping. It's because I have violations, so I'm. Okay. So, but on my sentencing, no. My sentencing, they sent me to the 9th floor in the MCC. My bad. I'm skipping this whole. I keep forgetting because all those times I'm coming in and out. So the first time, I stayed in MCC. They go, no, wait. What I do?
Because you said you got 60 days.
Yeah.
You got out, but you got violations.
What did I do my first? The 60 days? ¿Dónde los hice esas madres? I know I did them in the MDCC, and I got out of there. And
maybe you just did them there.
No, I think I did them there my 60 days, because I remember I even got off like on my 54th day.
That shit goes so fast.
Yeah, that shit goes so fast. I don't even remember. But on my violations, I got 4 months. So I did more. I did 4 months back in jail, and then 4 months in the halfway houses. Okay. In the two of them, Ocean View and Boston to Fulton, San Diego. I know in the halfway. I was in all of them. Well, the thing is, when I got out of MCC, the 2 months that I was there, which it was whatever. I don't even remember, because it was just in the dorm room. We were locked up, and nothing really special happened. But when I got off in probation, that's when shit started.
Okay, tell me about that, because you've been trying to tell me about your violations.
It's because I hate it. I hate the probation.
Imagine 5 years.
People, please do your time. You know what I mean? Like, just that feeling of coming out of jail and not having to do no process.
That's kind of impossible, though. Like, you can't. Like, for me, like, I got 10 years, 5 years inside, and 5 years outside. I couldn't do those 5 years.
Nah, I get it.
I had no choice. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's
But sometimes they get...
and I still did a whole, 7 months in the halfway house.
But sometimes for violations, I think they give... Because my homie did choose, instead of the halfway house or something like that, he chose to do the time inside.
Like, you only get 3 months or some shit. Like, that's better.
Yeah, but in the
halfway house suck.
Yeah, all of that sucks. Halfway houses, the probation, we get tested. We got to call. I don't know if it's still like that, but we got to call every day to see if we test that day, so, except for Sundays. So if you call on a Friday night and you don't have to test on Saturday, you might have a little
action.
Yeah, I might have a little action, but other than that, it's just too strict.
Is that how you got violated? What did you get violations for? Or did you catch cases?
Nah, eventually I tested dirty for for weed and
hell no.
For weed and because I was partying and shit. And then when he looked into me, he was like, "Hey, you got 152 trips to Tijuana without permission." Like, I was just going there every day with I wasn't caught in the border, so I didn't get sent to secondary or nothing. Like,
you were just crossing.
I was just the regular. And then
so you weren't able to go back to Mexico when you got out?
I need to ask for permission.
Okay.
But pues
who were you staying out here with?
My mom. Oh. My mom had a house out here. So I was staying with her, but I was a TJ guy. I didn't know nothing out here. So I was just going back. And eventually it caught up to me, everything. He pulled out the paper. He's like, "Hey, you've been testing all these times dirty and whatever." He's like, "Nah, wait, you know what? You're going back." So even when I even had to turn myself in for that, because he never told me I was going to go back. He's just like, we'll have another meeting about this. He never told me "Hey, you're nothing." So one day I'm trying to be cool, and I was in adult school. And I remember my mom called me. He's like, "Hey, they just showed up to the house, a bunch of marshals. They got a warrant for you." I told him, "You were in school, pero ahí van." You know what I mean? Yeah. So I dipped. So me fui, and I crossed the street. I stayed in and out, and I just saw the cops pulled up and everything, and they pues se fueron, no? Mm-hmm. And I was just tripping it's you know what I mean? Otra vez deal with this shit and all that. Probably extend it now and all this shit.
Because you didn't learn, because you didn't get no time, fool.
Yeah, exactly. That's why a bunch of fools vas a volver tú, cabrón, because I was chilling in there.
Because it really is true.
I was chilling in there. I had a bunch of commissary because I was only going to do a little bit of time, so I was paying everything for it. I would give you sodas y galletas. Plánchame el de este, just for random shit. Hey, tócame una canción. And I would be, you know what I mean? Just give me away. I was only there. I was only there for a few months, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm just gonna chill, you know? But I was like, fuck, otra vez tengo que volver esa madre la verga. So I turned myself in the next day. I called my lawyer. I was like, you know what's going on? He's like, well, you got a warrant, man, and we're only gonna know if you go to court.
Yeah.
So you gotta be in custody for that, whatever this and that. So I was like, my birthday was I was ya tenía como un año fuera type shit, so my birthday was around the corner. So I turned myself in like 1 week before my birthday. So I was like, I'm not gonna be partying a gusto ni nada if I know I gotta do fucking, you know what I mean? So I was like, la verga. Like I always face like, even when I had problems out there with people that meetings and shit, I was always like, yeah, let's do it right now. De una vez,
consequences.
Because I got anxiety, perro. You know what I mean? I don't want to be. I'm not gonna comer bien. I'm not gonna sleep just thinking about you. Like, let's just get this shit over.
Yeah.
Me voy a morir o qué va a pasar? You know what I mean? Like, what's gonna happen?
No, I like that.
Yeah. So I turned myself in quick. And that's when my grandpa went with. That's when I turned myself in that time. That's when my grandpa, because the first time I turned myself in court, I remember now. But the second time I went to the federal building. I turned myself in. That's when I went to the GEO, and then they from the GEO they sent me to the second floor. From the second floor, one night at 3 in the morning after being a month there, they wake me up. Hey, wait, roll it up, everybody. Yo, I wake up, you know, you get bubble guts and shit like that. So I start leaving all my celly. Hey, güey, háblale a mi jefa, dile que, you know, all this shit. Dile que me voy, no sé pa' dónde, pero whatever. So they move us, and then some fools were getting dropped off at the airport and shit. Todo como que, a la ver, pues, ¿dónde vamos? You know what I mean? So they fucking drove me all the way to California City. And we got there like it's freezing. We only got
No, California City is like up north, not Victorville.
Oh, yeah, it's almost by Vegas. It's el desierto del Antílope, because I remember the radio station.
So you mean Victorville?
It's by Victorville. Yeah,
but that's not California City.
It's like a little bit down. I think so. If you pull out the maps, but I remember it's el desierto del Antílope because of the radio station, and so we get there, and this one is it was meant to be like a big jail, but it was used for transfer. So nobody there was sentenced or anything, but I was wearing my clothes then because they gave me my clothes to transfer there. So I have some trouble with some sureños in the transferring because they were trying to take the paisa's shoes, and I was just there just chilling. By this time I already kind of know how the system is and everything. So we're there in the transfer, and I hear these two homies that are like, hey, wait, the shoes, perro, they're gonna take them away, you know, I get this and that, whatever. And the little paisa was like, no way, like, you know, he didn't want it to, but you could tell he didn't want to like beef or anything. You know, most of the paisas aren't there to like fight or anything. So eventually, like, there was another fool that was the same as me, but we just listening. So I knew he kind of had my back. I didn't ask him or anything, but I was like, más vale que me hace el paro, you know. So I looked, I was like, hey, wait, why don't you ask your Ramfla for shoes? You know, ask your car for shoes. You know, he's a paisa. He's telling you he's a paisa. Why are you asking him for stuff? You know what I mean? And yeah, that's the way, like, está bien, güey. You know, like, they knew somebody knew what's up, so they kind of like broke up because they could, I think they could get in trouble, no, or something like for messing like with other. So yeah, so they tied me up with that fool. They handcuffs together. Y ahí vamos los dos dormidos, you know what I mean? Like, we're on our way to California City, and we get there, and I remember I did another month there. Just fucking meeting people from all over. That's when I saw the other hater fool, and that's when I told him, like, hey, you want to fight this and that.
And how was that? Was that like a little semi? You said it was like,
yeah, that's a typical, like, you walk in and it's like around the dorms, and then the shower's like on the corner, and in the middle the for eating and stuff. And then back then I had a little. My neighborhood in TJ is Los Altos, right? And I was born in LA, so I had a little LA tattoo right here, and then my tagging crew on the bottom. And so I'm walking to the showers, and apparently somebody saw it, whatever. So next thing you know, I'm changing in my cell, and some older like paisa comes in, and he's like, hey, puedes caerle a la celda, like, come to the cell because we need to talk to you about some shit. I was like, Simón. I was like, I kind of knew already because ever since I got there, like, even the homies were like, hey, wait, tú eres sureño, cállate pa' acá, you're a citizen. Like, I was like, nah, wait, yo crecí allá. I was like, este güey es de Michoacán and he's a sureño, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't have nothing to do, you know what I mean? Because we even clown on that later on with some rappers, and but this time, so I get ready.
Yeah, so the homies get deported.
Yeah, so I get ready. I walk into the cell, and there's like bunch of fools already there, and I'm like I said, I look young, you know what I mean? So they close the door. Dije, la verga, you know what I mean?
Chingo.
And then that fool was like, ¿qué traes ahí en la pierna, morro? Like, what do you have in your leg? I was like, oh, pues, I told the same thing. Le dije, no, pues mi barrio es Los Altos. Yo soy de Tijuana y es de Los Altos, pero nací acá en Los Ángeles. Le dije, so, es de Los Altos y mi crew is la new generation of bandits or bandidos type shit, you know? Some fucking tagging crew. And they're like, seguro que no eres homie, has estado have you been in county, have you been, le dije, no, güey, I've been out there, le dije, in Mexico, I've been, pero I never claimed, I'm not from any gang, I've never, like, I didn't really grow up here besides school, le dije, todo eso, so we had a little 20 minutes talking, lo que fueron, they got like some homie from San Diego to come and ask, hey, is he not a homie? And, no way, you know what I mean? He's a paisa, so that happened, you know what I mean?
That's pretty intense.
Yeah, I mean, but to me, it was like, no mames, way. Like, if I was a gang, I would be claiming like, I know myself, like, I'm proud of myself, you know, but like, whatever. So that happened. And then I remember, yeah, they told me I was going to go back to, well, I'm not sentenced yet because
You're on a violation?
Yeah, on a violation. So I get taken to court, and I remember I'm waiting because over there, if your court is, let's say your court is today, they take you at 11 at night.
The day before.
The day before, yeah. So I'm waiting to go to court, and then this was like cleaning and stuff, and I see, I think he had a San Diego tattoo. I don't know if he still has it, but I recognize him because I was being a fan of music. Like, I was being a music head and Chicano rap and just in general. I was like, me dice, hey, ¿qué ole? ¿Eres homie o paisa? And I was like, no, paisa. Me dice, ¿vas a corte? Le dije, Simón. He's like, mucha suerte, paisa, whatever. Like, I was like, hey, you're a little one? Y me dice, Simón, carnal. Le dije, órale. Like,
oh, nice.
Qué chingón, carnal. You know what I mean? Like, all right. And then they came and took me and yeah, I went to record stuff. And in that transfer, I met a lot of people that just got out now, like from 10 years and shit like that, but that we knew from outside. And there was a whole lot of politics going because a big conspiracy from TJ came, like 40 or 50 some dudes, and they were like half TJ, half US citizen stuff, but it was all cartel related. Mm-hmm. So I just like, hey, wait, so this and that and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh shit. And it was just all kinds of drama going on. So I go back to California City. Now I'm sentenced, and they tell me that eventually they're going to put me back to MCC. So now in California City, I'm just waiting. And then eventually, yeah, they bring me back to MCC. Now they take me to the 9th floor where it's all the sentencing guys. And now I see some people that were there when I first got there, like the year before or stuff like that are sentenced now. He's the repra. So I'm like, oh, Ñero es el repra. You know what I mean? Like, I'm lucky again. The same as, you know, like in fucking semi. So I'm like, oh, el repra, el toma, you know. And I became there really good friends with my homie Alex Mora, which to this day, I was with him this weekend. He has a company of a stage, like for concerts and stuff. And I just go, hey, wait, what? Like, I'm renting the stage to whoever. So I go kick it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we're still homies. And so yeah, there are some friends from my hood that we know. And I called that fool lying. Like, he was saying like, esa morra, like, no es cierto, güey. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So
like, tell me stories.
So yeah, on that, I only have like 2 months left.
Okay.
So I'm chilling again.
Yeah.
So I'm just fucking, now I got a job. Like, I'm early, so I got a little responsibility and doing this. Then some drama with the Sureños happens again because it's a lot of paisas and a lot of Sureños, and us paisas, like from the Baja, most of the time we're young fools. So los cagazones, you know what I mean? Like, we're ready to fight. We want to fight. We want to do all this kind of shit. Yeah. So eventually there was this beef. One of it was like the homies kept saying, man, hey, güey, el rapper from them, he was like also from BCV, I think, or something like that, from Barrio Chula Vista. And he would clown and stuff. He was like, hey, güey, tú eres homie, tú eres US citizen, güey. Me dice, why, how come all the US citizens se creen paisas and all that shit? I was like, perro, you're going fucking back as soon as you do your bid, way. Like, you're deported because you're from Michoacán. Este way is allá. Like,
you guys are the paisas. Yeah,
you guys are real paisas, way. You know, but we were clowning and stuff. But there was like those little like comments and shit like that. And then we had a Colombian paisa that was taking the food to them. He was more friends with them, and you know, it was like stupid prison shit. So eventually there was a big meeting where like Ñero, like the repra, and also we're in a cell. And then I could hear Ñero like, la verga, que mis paisas, y que la. I was like, oh, because we were more, you know. But we're like, oh shit. And then in los comedores, we're walking next to like homies and paisas, but we're all like waiting to see what's gonna happen.
Like, if you were going to be in a riot.
Yeah, eventually also they just wanted to do his time. He was already out. He was always going to be out. Everybody there was sentenced, and nobody could be there more than 2 years in UMCC. So everybody had low time. So nobody was really trying to get out. You know what I mean? So eventually, it died down, whatever. And then when I got out of there, I had to do... My sentence was 4 months in prison or in jail and 4 months in halfway house. So they sent me back. I skipped the first halfway house I was in. The first violation was in a halfway house, 2 months in the halfway house. But this one, it's a smaller halfway house, no girls, only guys, and not really a patio and stuff. And then it just got stressed. Like, it was just stressing because I wasn't really going out to work or anything and shit like that. And only went back to the adult school where I got arrested, but it was just whatever. Mm-hmm. So eventually, like, there was a lot of tijuas So we started checking each other, like, hey, we gotta be ready and this and that, and the homies started like checking each other. I remember first they started like two fools going at it, playing body shots. The biggest fools from Tijuana, like so they were doing body shots, and then they jumped another guy, just, hey, wait, tú eres Tijuana, like, you know what I mean? And then they started having fun. And I remember they came to the little patio we had, and we were just chilling, smoking spice, because that's what we did in the happy house. And then llegan and they're like, ¿cómo la ves, Tijuas? We're todos los Tijuas, we're checking them and this and that, la verga, and I already knew, so bam, I hit him first, pero ese güey era una madresota, so they jumped me for like 10 to 16 seconds or something like that, and then we started jumping, like, we just started having fun, but then the Sinaloas were like, they trying to play too, and then, well, yeah, we started going at it, but we chose those fools hard, like, estaban verdes, you know what I mean, de los moretes, so the CEOs, they already knew what was going on, but they were like, están jugando. But then when they saw how we beat those fools, those fools, they're like, hey, wait, no están jugando. Like, so they violated all of us. So
you went back?
No, my probation called me because at this time they switched my PO. So I got like a little cooler one. So le hice la llorona. I was like, hey, wait, like, you got me in this halfway house and shit like that, surrounded by all these fools where I'm only thinking about doing stupid shit or getting in trouble, shit like that. And I told him, if you send me back to my mom's house, I'm there with my sisters. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'll probably have easier to get away from stupid thoughts. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So he's like, all right, I'm gonna do that, but you got a year left of probation. Like, just keep it straight. If not, I will give you another year, because at this time you're not doing anything for yourself. You know what I mean? And after that, I got a job, and then I just glided all the way. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
how long have you like been getting yourself together? It's been a while, no?
I got off probation when I was 23, but like you said, I didn't really do time, so I didn't really learn. So I would say up to like 4 years ago, maybe 3.
Okay.
That's when I stopped like
then you went back to Tijuana.
Yeah, well, I mean, now I'm a little bit more familiar with this side too, and with now I've met people I've never thought I would met in prison in federal. You know what I mean? Especially, like I said, there's those circles where if you know somebody, they kind of let you in the talks. So now you know more. Now you have more connects. Now you know what I mean. So now I go back to TJ, and I'm like, I'm the only one out of my generation that's been in there, kind of like. So. You know, I'm telling everybody like, oh wait, I met this fool, like this and that, and some fool, nah, man, you know what I mean? But I never really lie on my shit. I never really lie on my shit because, like I said, even on my podcast and shit like that, like, there's people active watching me, sometimes even on my lives I'm good friends with them, whatever. So I can't really be lying. Yeah. I can't really be lying because this, hey, wait, ¿qué traes? You know what I mean? They're kind of
like, wait, pura pinches mentiras.
Yeah, I'm not no reporter or anything. I'm just a part of the group that is doing this now, you know what I mean? But I can't lie. So I always had that same mentality. So yeah, I just I kept doing a lot of shit, but now more careful, way more careful.
Okay, well, we don't want to talk about that because obviously you didn't go back. We're just gonna.
No, but I mean, I kind of focus more on the Mexican side. I didn't really want to do anything out here.
Okay.
I was scared. Like out here, I was like, no, ya si haces tiempo. You know what I mean? Out there, like una feria, like even if you get caught, like you pay this. There's ways. You know what I mean? So after that, I kind of decided to like just stick to Mexico. But I was lowering it down, like lower, like getting as far as I could, because I got off in 2013, and then at this point, I was feeling like I'm 23, so I'm kind of feeling like, you know. I've been in this matter of my life. I've never really had like a serious girlfriend because I was being like out there, you know what I mean? So at this point, I'm like, yeah. So at this point, I'm like, I'm you know, maybe it's time to like settle down, kind of like thing, no? So yeah, eventually I get together with this girl, and I kind of like chill for up to 2015 for like 2 years, and but in 2015 my friends get killed. And they were twins. They're twins. They got killed together, and that just hit me because that's my real, like, at this point, Don Sergio, he died. He had a very awful death. Like you could see it in TV and like the news when it happened, and that was like the first death. But he wasn't like my brother. He was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was. But this death, that's when it really like, I just felt like something staying in my heart or something when I was already kind of like on the breakup with the girl. We still live together, but you know those times where you like.
And she was in Mexico?
We were both from the U.S.
Oh, okay.
We lived out here, and then we moved to TJ. And we were living out there. We had a house out there. And I remember it was just one of the days when you don't want to talk, and you know what I mean? So I remember I woke up and she was getting ready for work. So I just pretended I was still asleep till she left. And then once she left, I had my phone on silence. And so so when I checked it, I had all kinds of calls and everything because they thought I was one of the guys that was dead, because my friends were laying there for like an hour before like cops came and stuff like that. So, and it happened in the hood. So like the people that saw him, there was other friends. They were like, "Hey, wait, this was here laying down," like, you know. And I wasn't answering it. This happened at 3 a.m. I checked my phone till like 7 a.m. So like there's people worried about me because I'm not answering and all this stuff. I'm already seeing like rest in peace posts on Facebook and stuff.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean?
About you?
No, about like
your
yeah, and like all this is hitting like as soon as I wake up, kind of, you know. And then I just remember I just had to scream, you know. I just fucking let it out. I screamed and then I started crying, and then my car was in the shop, so I remember I didn't even feel like, I don't even think I would have driven, to be honest, because I was like 6 or 8 blocks away from my friend's house, so I just ran over there. I just got out of the house and ran over there and like, you know, kind of like shaking, like you almost fell, because, you know what I mean, all kinds of shit going through. And then like people saying what's up to me because some people I didn't know or type shit. I'm, you know, and it's like,
you're just running.
Yeah, and it's like, all this mind fuck going on. So yeah, I get to the house and like some family members, I actually have to give the news to some family members that are barely getting there, because they all knew me, like all the families, we knew each other and stuff like that. So they're like, ¿Qué pasó, güey? ¿Qué pasó? And I'm like, oh, pues, you know, and then just seeing all this pain. And at that time, I mean, a lot of friends were very active. I mean, I was chilling because I was living with my girl and, you know, living their life. But I started calling like all these guys and asking like, what's happened, this and that. And no, we were trying to figure out this and that, because everybody knows each other and shit like that happens, like all kinds of, you know. So yeah, I mean, we found out who did it, why, this and that. But at the same time, all the pain is, you know, that's the first real pain, like default pain, I think, that I felt in my life, probably. Yeah, because I had no family members die before that. No, nothing. You know, we're relatively young family, so we're all doing good. Everything's going great. You know, I'm 25 in 2015. My friends, they were 25 too. So like, fuck,
yeah,
you know?
I get it.
And yeah, after that, I kind of went to a dark place, like with depression and stuff like that, but also like I'm not giving. You know what I mean? Like I broke up with a girl, and
you went back to the streets, kind of.
Yeah. But in a depressed way, I wasn't really making it. I was just surviving. You know, I left the house. I had no job. I went back to my mom because I kept that job for a little bit in the U.S. that I had on my probation, but then I stopped and I was just like being the plug for this and that. You know, doing small stuff. And then eventually I started bringing weed from the dispensaries and selling it over there, because I was always been a big marijuana. So I would buy weed for myself, and then fools be like, "Hey, wait, bring me some," you know. So I would sell it. I started selling it to the So I was a little weed connect out there and shit. So, but not even that. Like at the end, I remember when like on my darkest place, I only had like an ounce to sell. You know what I mean? Like because like most of the time I was just like laying down in bed, and you know what I mean? And
not caring.
Yeah, not caring, and all kinds of shit was going on. And I remember a good friend, Elo, he was like, he kind of saw me like that. He's like, "Hey, wait, how you feeling?" You know, and he's like, I take algo con unos tacos. He brought me some tacos home. And then he worked in the clubs, in like the fresa clubs and like the fancy clubs. And he's just starting, "Hey, wait, Kyle, wait." And I was like, "Nah, wait, I don't even got money." He's like, "Nah, no pedo, wait, like, I got you," you know, because he had real good positions on the clubs. So I just started partying with him and like going out and like, you know, and then and it helped me because I was meeting a lot of people that I couldn't meet on my regular day, because all these, in those fresa clubs, you meet like the higher up people, like the empresarios and all these types of, so I was getting, you know, I was be friends with all these kinds of people, like chingo de morras also, like kinds of girls. And I saw the club life, and I lived the club life for like a couple of years. And then that got me out of depression, and then got me a little bit steady going. And I started bringing more weed, like pounds of weed, and selling a bunch of weed. And then it was a cool hustle because I knew like the guys that were a little bit higher up, and they wouldn't fuck with me because first, back then, they didn't know how much money weed was bringing. And yeah, it's American weed. They thought it was like Mexican weed, but American weed, I was like getting grams for $5, selling them for 15, you know? So I was making good money. And so they didn't know. And then I would give them like 3 ounces from here and on, and they wouldn't anything. And I had their their green light.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So now I'm back. You know, I'm back on my thing. Now I'm doing all this and that, and
Wait, and the cartel people didn't trip?
that's what I'm saying because they're the
Okay, that's what
homies
you're
now.
talking about.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I'm
because
talking
I've known
about.
you, especially from younger.
And the clubs. So this is the thing. There's something they ask me in my podcast a lot because I don't want to say who, but there's a guy that's doing really well now from the cartel. He's one of the main guys around TJ, and his right hand man is my childhood friend
Okay.
that we know from the graffiti tag banging era.
From Los Altos.
He's not from Los Altos, but we were close. Like our hoods were close. We partied together and all kinds of stuff. And he was always the head of his little crew too. So one time I'm in this club with my friend, and I see him, and you know when you see that guy and he tries to act like now I'm the shit, you know, and hey, I want to introduce you to the boss, and he had like 5 guys with him and stuff like that. But by that time I already, you know, I've been through anything, so I'm not sure if he's really or anything. But he's my friend, so I was like, I'll be right there, you know, I'll go say what's up right now. So I'll go to the table. And yeah, it was the guy that now is the boss, but right there he was barely in that club. That's where that cartel formed, basically, in that club. So they're barely making their first, you know, so I was like, hey, you know, I met everybody, and he's like, hey, he's my friend, he's my like a brother, whatever. So now in a way, I'm, you know what I mean? So that's how I'm connected with these people that I'll send them weed from time to time. But if anything, they're like, oh, that's his homie, oh, that's his friend. So
Yeah, you're cool.
so I'm cool, yeah. Except for people that are their enemies that sometimes think that I'm
Part.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's when shit gets fishy.
Don't come over here in my podcast, fool.
No. So but I mean, I'm very neutral, so I make friends with everybody, and I have friends in everybody.
Everywhere, yeah.
But the thing is, from that side, they're more childhood friends, so people might think I'm closer to them. But at the end of the day, I'm friends with who you might, for everybody. I met everybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And from there, I go to Sinaloa, I go to Guadalajara, and I'm cool over there. People, everything's cool. And but yeah, in the beginning, before I did the podcast and all that, I'm not a streamer. I'm just a guy in the streets, you know what I mean?
You're just you.
Yeah, so that's how I met those people, and that's how I'm cool with selling weed, and they don't really trip about it.
Got it.
Plus, there's always been this funny friendship with. My hood is Los Altos, but the hood right next to it is Infonavit, Lomas del Porvenir. Most of the time, that's been run by, let's say these are the reds, these are the blue. Like most of the time, it's been like that. So, but we've been childhood friends since way before that. So we had a friend on Info that he's always been the plug, always. But he's from the other team, and our friends are from the other team. But when we heard that, hey, they're looking into him, I would like, hey, wait, they're asking about you, just so you know, be careful, fix that shit. And he would tell us like, hey, wait, over here, they're asking, you know what I mean? Because our childhood friendship was over politics and shit like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now as time goes by, now I'm the
man.
not the man, but he's still a good plug on weed, and he's trying to get into the American weed, and I'm that guy.
Okay.
So now I take him out to the US. We go to like all these places where I get,
cool.
you know what I mean? So now we're bringing like every 10 days we bring back like 10 pounds of like weed and like pens, vape pens, pre-rolls, and all that shit. So
You're able to,
yeah. So now he's friends with that other side, and now I'm friends with this, and we kind of have, you know, shit running smoothly and stuff like that. Yeah. But then at some point I meet the homie from Codiciado. I don't know if you listen to Mexican music or regional.
Yeah, I know.
He's very big. Yeah. So I get introduced to him by a friend in common. And then, like I said before, I've always been like a creative. I've always loved music. You always see me with headphones, always music, always drawing, always writing, because I like to write too and write stories and stuff. So when I meet the homie, and then he's kind of on his way. He's not popping yet or anything. And then we just click it from the get-go. We become best friends. Yeah, we start kicking it every day and shit like that. And I just start seeing like that side of like the music industry and like the grow up and everything. And eventually he pops, you know. But when I met him, it inspired me to be like, oh shit, like you can actually make money. Like I've never met nobody in the hood that made money other ways than what we're used to, you know what I mean? Especially like the money we're trying to, you know what I mean?
Trying to make.
And also it brings like popularity, which we kind of do like in the streets, and it gives you that power.
Matters.
Yeah. And the street dudes like you because you're singing about them, so you're around, but you're not part of the politics. So it's kind of a cool space. So I start looking at this, and I'm like, oh shit, like I could really do something. And that's when like I started actually thinking like, oh, you know what, I might not die young. You know what I mean? Like I might find something that, because I was always ready. I was ready to be gone like at 21, like everybody. But now I was in jail, and I think that saved me because there was a big war going in TJ. So being in jail and probation, it got me to stay in San Diego. I couldn't go back, so kind of saved me from like the war era. And but yeah, after that's when I also like I was trying to make them a corrido, so that kind of put me in. I wrote it myself, so like some local group recorded and stuff like that, and then that's kind of how I started selling weed to a bunch of musicians. I know that's how I know a lot of groups, like even like Cartel de Santa. I know this was when they got a TJ. I was selling weed because I was the guy that had the American weed. So yeah, I started getting into the music industry that way, and that's kind of what opened my eyes to like, oh shit, like I could actually make something honest and like have family proud, like feel proud by myself. Like, just become positive figure in that way. And yeah, that's how I came into the music, just with all this background. I mean, I still, like I said, look,
I get it.
But let's say that if some guy tells me, hey, wait, I know.
You don't need to be saying that.
It's different, you know what I mean? I would do it like.
We'll mute it because
so
that's like bad.
Okay, so yeah,
it's not a regular pod, bro.
Okay,
it's like a little different.
Yeah, well, and yeah, so I mean, I did. I wouldn't be talking. I'm not gonna talk about stuff that
I know, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I feel you. But so just to get you in context, that's the kind of stuff like I was like the little hustles. Like if something came out of this, I have somebody buy. But my thing was weed because I was already trying to get away from everything. So just keep it in weed and make it more in the.
And you try to change.
And I'm mostly seeing in the music industry now, not really in the streets. So I'm kind of leaving that dark, aura to the side. But it helped just having all this experience and everything.
And being around different types of people.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, it's the Mexican music industry is kind of tied a little bit to that world too.
Yeah.
But now you're on this side. You're not on that. You know what I mean? So now it's a little bit more of a chill ride. You know what I mean? You get to meet everybody in a different.
So what do you do? Like, what do you do now?
Well, what I was doing with him, I just kind of helped them evolve the music because back then it was like people wearing Mexican music con los norteños, like the sombrero and all that. And my friend has swag. If people know or see him, he has swag. He knows how to dress and shit. So I always told him like, hey, wait, you should take off the uniform and just swag it out. You know what I mean?
Like wear your clothes.
Other groups can't do it because they don't have the swag. Like they don't dress on the regular day. They don't dress flashy. You do. So you got taste. So that might work. Which eventually it worked. We got high on acid. We watched a bunch of videos, A$AP Rocky, Kendrick, and all that stuff. And I just told him about the rap industry, like how it evolved.
Kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah, and how it's going that way. Like this is the popular side. Like that's how you get like more commercial. These fools are traveling all over the world, and and even his lyrics, he doesn't only did like narco corridos. He would do like songs even about himself, like what you hear now, like the flashy things and all that in the corridos. He kind of was the pioneer of that, and it was just. Of our mix of our friendship and shit, and that worked for him. That's what put him on the map. That's what everything. So,
which is amazing.
Yeah. Plus, we were just best friends. Literally, like I never got paid. Like I never asked him for a salary or anything. Like he would help me.
You need to pay out, fool.
Hey, la neta, perro.
Hey, you think I just wasted my time?
Nah, but I mean, up to this day, we're like. But really, he's one of my best friends. So, but yeah, that's how I started getting into and known and everything. But also, like, I was aware that I don't sing, I don't play no instruments. You know what I mean? No estamos guapos, no estamos, you know what I mean? Like, so we gotta find a way. And then, ever since I was on probation out here and I couldn't go to TJ, I got really deep into YouTube. So, because I was stuck at home, so I would watch everything from.
And what years were this?
This has to be 2012, 2011, 2012, 2013.
Oh shit!
When I'm in probation, yeah. So I'm watching Snoop do the West Coast Wednesday thing or Smoking Tuesday. I don't know, but he would.
I was in prison. I don't know.
Well, he would do Facebook Lives where he was just DJing. Back when you could play music on Facebook, that he would just be DJing, smoking. And I would just play that in the mornings, and I would do my little morning routine while that shit was going on.
That's cool.
And then he did the GGN news, which eventually evolved and all that. But I was there from the beginning of that. And then the satellite, like comedians, I love comedy, so I was doing, so
that's what you started just watching.
Opie and Anthony, like satellite radio, all these shows that transfer. I mean, even then Dr. Dre had the pharmacy on iHearts, and everybody was kind of starting that shit. So I never thought I could do it, but I was always a fan of that, just getting more in the culture and stuff. I would look up my favorite rappers and other stuff. So now, I'm in the industry, I was like, hey, wait, podcasts should be big in Mexico too, because they weren't, like, nobody was doing it. And I was like, I know a lot of famous, like, influencers, stuff like that. Like, hey, wait, let me produce you a podcast, like, because you're already doing your thing, and I would have to show them clips of, like, examples, and I would play like Drink Champs. I'll be like, look, wait, we could have like a little peda, but with a norteño, like they do it their way, we could do it our way, you know what I mean? Or like a little cantina maybe, and have like groups and shit like that. This was 2017, 2018, and nobody was going for it. Everybody told me the same thing. Nah, perro, that's you. Nah, you should do it way like. But at this time, I'm like half.
Cause you're a good talker, Wayne.
Yeah, but I'm half in the street. Like being from the streets, you I don't know. Like you used to not being on camera. I never really fuck with pictures. I never really like videos and shit. Like you kind of like duck away from it. You know what I mean? But I understood that I know what they mean. This could be my show. But I was never, especially in those years where I'm. It's still a sketchy situation.
It's different when you're still in and out.
Yeah, it's like I always said, it's like either you're an artist or you're a street guy. You can't be both. Like you don't try to do. I agree. Don't try to take this to this and this to that. You know what I mean? It's gonna fuck it up. And yeah, that's when I was still like, fishy about it. But then the pandemic came, but this time I found some local rappers that I wanted to like manage and produce and stuff. So I started kicking it with them, and I started doing that thing because I always loved rap, and now I'm in the music industry in a little bit. I got some connects, so I kind of have a sense of what's going on, which not really, but I kind of learned on the way.
That's how it goes. This is the best ways.
Yeah, so I get producer and everything. Now we're spending days in the studio and just doing that live, and kind of brought it up, that group. It was locally known now, and I threw like big ass parties. I just did it like the way they do it out here, like release parties and all kinds of promo and all that shit.
And you did it like that in Tijuana.
And I did it like that in Tijuana, and it worked. And but managing people where you're putting 100% and they're putting the 60%, you know how that goes. And I don't want to get into it. So eventually I was like, man, they're lagging. You know what I mean? I could be doing more stuff. This time the pandemic hits and all that, and podcasts start popping in Mexico. They just, on the pandemic, everybody's home, so everybody's doing live stream and shit, but then podcasts in Mexico are starting to be a thing. And now I get to see like, oh, somebody beat me to it. Even friends are telling me like, yeah, wait, what are you trying to do? So now I was like, okay, I'm gonna set it in, see how, people get used to, listening to long ass conversations. It wasn't really, people weren't used to that, So even on the radio, you have like commercials and shit. So it's just a podcast, So eventually, it starts working, and I start figuring out how to, do my thing and stuff. But then stuff in the streets happened, and just like more death, more drama, more war, stuff. And I wasn't really taking serious the podcast. Like I would rent the to somebody, but even then they wouldn't even know how to like produce it, and it was a weird moment. And I was still had my street money, so I don't really care. Like if I was like, I was trying to make it like a hobby, but and then one day, my uncle, my mom's brother, he was good. He did a lot of time too. He was always like in the life, but he actually did like years. Like he did like 5 years one time, then he did like another 3, then he did like another 3 and shit like that. But this time that he got out, he was like straight. He was working in a shipyard. He had kids.
He realized he had to get his shit together.
Yeah, he got his shit together, and he was just that guy that just but he liked to smoke meth, but he didn't go crazy at it. He was just like the regular user. He still goes to work, he still does that, but on Fridays, Fridays when he got off of work, he'll stop by the Connect, probably buy some, probably smoke some right there, and then just go home and keep being him.
Yeah.
But this time he got to the Connect, and then they got there to shoot the Connect, and he was there. Yeah, so
you lost your tío.
So they got my tío, and then so there's another death that hits me again. Like, plus he's innocent. You know what I mean? Like at least my homies were doing shit, and I kind of understand that, But this time he's like, you know what I mean? And it's close. It's like my older brother. Yeah. He's 9 years older than me. So yeah, another. On that day, I quit everything. Like I even left my house. Well, you know what? Because before, like a month before my uncle's passing, I had been kidnapped by the cops, and I almost wouldn't be here.
Wait, tell me about you being kidnapped.
Got a bunch of stories, huh? Well,
Oh, you got a bunch of stories, but you're not even in prison once.
yeah. That's a Mexico thing. Well, I had this new house that I was renting out there in TJ, a nice house, and where I was barely like, I had no furniture on it, and had no wife or anything, and then I was with my friend, and he was very active, like, but he's not a killer or anything. He's just one of those guys that crosses things, whatever, he makes money. He's a hustler. So he's just my friend. We was just kicking it together. And he's like, hey, wait, I'm gonna go to the swap meet because there's this shop at the swap meet that's gonna give me a computer. My daughter wants to stream, and I'm getting like a nice computer. Blah, blah. So he's like, I'll be back. And I was like, hey, wait, I don't want to wait for here. Like, I don't even got Wi-Fi. Like, I'll go with you. You know what I mean? And over there, like, we rode with like a car that looked like an Uber type. So we were right in the back seat. The guy, but he's our friend, but it pretends to be Uber. So that's how we get along because of cops and stuff. So we get to the swap meet. We pull up and he's like, they're showing him the computer stuff. And the guy that's the guy that sells the computers, I actually know him through his cousin. But I'm just outside waiting, like outside the shop, whatever. And then I hear a radio chatter, and then a cop pulls up. He's like, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, I'm getting a computer. But I always like, when they come up to you like that, it's like,
annoying.
Yeah, like, okay, wait, pues estoy aquí nomás. Like, you know what I mean? Like, verga, yeah. So I'm just minding my business. He left. And then I hear like 5 radios. And then I looked, and like some fool just grabbed me and put me on the the cortinas, what do you call it? The things you close the swap meet shops with?
I don't know.
The metal doors. The metal doors, yeah.
Yeah.
So they smashed me against that shit, and then grabbed my homie, and they did that shit. And they're like, no, que they thought we were there for like extorting or I don't know what, but they found a little vape pen, and they're like, oh no, we're gonna have
And they're like extra, huh? Over anything.
Yeah, so they put a haircut on, and I don't really like to argue. So I was like, eventually they're gonna let me talk, and I'm gonna be like, I know so-and-so, or how much you want, whatever. We're gonna hit, but I always let them get their talk. They're, I'm gonna take it, this and that. So I'm like, I'm always cool and let them do their thing, and then eventually they're gonna let me talk.
You're used to it.
Yeah. But my friend's like, hey, pero qué traen, and like all this and that. So they just start taking us outside to the swap meet. And then they put it, and we get to the pickup truck, and they take our phones. And now that's where shit gets worried, because I had some messages from the day before that I hadn't erased. And then my friend was working. Like, he was like, hey, what car? Yeah, is it ready? Blah, 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 this and that. So they take our phones, and they're like, oh. And they put us in the back. But this is when I knew, like, some shit was weird. Like I said, I've been getting taken a bunch of times. So they made us face down on the pickup truck, and we got handcuffed to. So we're laying down like this. They can't see. People outside can't see that they're taking us. So that's when I was like, hey, wait. Usually you're sitting there, and people can see that they're taking you, but this time they didn't. So I was like, weird.
Raro, sí.
Yeah. So boom, they start driving, whatever, and my homie was like, hey, wait, what's up with these fools? And I was like, they're probably gonna take it. They probably don't want money. They probably want to fill the paper, and they're probably gonna take us to the judge. But with the judge, you just tell them what's up, and they're gonna let you out. You know what I mean? It's still a waste of time, but nothing to break your head over. So we start driving, and then I could see up, and I see a little bit of the street, and I know everything by memory. So we drive by the police station, and he doesn't stop. He goes into one of the hoods. So now I'm like, and then we start driving to this ghetto ass neighborhood, and I know this because I had a girl out there, and we drive by her house, and I'm like, what the f- are we going? Like, this is not, this is not a good place. So we get to a dirt road, and then you can only hear like birds and shit, like the wind, like you couldn't hear anything. And the cops, they get out of the car, and they're like, all right. They sit us up, and they're like, all right, you either tell me what's going on, or somebody else is gonna come and they're gonna find out, because I already know, I saw the messages, I already know what's up with you guys. So what are we gonna do? And we're like, no, like, we're not doing anything. You caught us with a vape pen, this and that, like, we're not doing shit. He's like, all right, that's the route you guys want to take? Cool. He tied us back up, and he left us there. He's like, you gotta wait here for a minute. So at that point, there had been some beef like some weeks before that with people from that neighborhood, to where I was like, all right, they're gonna turn me into people. And you know what I mean? I was like, at that point I already, I was ready. Like, I was thinking like, damn, like, I always thought of this moment, like my anxiety, like, damn. And I was super calm. I was super calm, because I thought, like, at this point I already kind of started the podcast. So like, I already started on that change to that positiveness. So I was like, you know what? I'm glad my mama, at least I got to see that positive change. You know what I mean? I don't mind.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was on that shit. Like, I literally live whatever I live. Like, I lived the way I wanted to. You know what I mean? I've done everything I wanted to. Like, I was kind of like, pues ni pedo, güey. You know, that's I've been living basically ready for this moment. But my homie was crying. He was like, no mames, güey, ¿qué crees que pase? And I was like, hey, wait, you don't want to know what I think is gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even want me to tell you, perro.
Sí.
So I'm just thinking about this shit. Like, damn, güey, like, I hope they leave me right here so they can find me. That's kind of like now my partner's like, ojalá me encuentren, you know what I mean? Because over there, you know,
nunca se sabe
a la gente, you don't know, some people you don't find them. So now I'm like settling into, güey, pues, ni pedo, güey. And then I hear another car pulled up. And then I hear some fool telling the other car, he's like, hey, because I had yellow sweats and like a black shirt. He's like, hey, güey, el pants de amarillo es gabacho, so en la cara no, because they have my passport. So I was like, they're not going to kill me, or they wouldn't be worried about where they en la cara, no, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was like, ahí viene una verguiza, you know what I mean? Like, we're about to get it, perro, you know? Yeah, as soon as they, the other cops, it was state cops, they opened the door of the back of the truck, and so we look up, and they drag us up, they stand us up like this. They tell my homie, I seen you before. Bam, bam. And they just start like cacheteándolo. Now I heard them that they're not going to hit me. So I'm like, en la cara no. Pero I knew like it's from, you know what I mean? So they just drag us out and they, like así nos bajan como costal and bam, they're hitting us all the way to their truck car. And they handcuff us on the back and they sit you in the back seat and they make you put your hands between your knees so you're not seeing anything, you know? So they take us to another abandoned place. And that's when the interrogation starts, you know what I mean? They put me in the
oh, dang!
They put me in the truck bed and then they put my homie inside and then they just start going at it. Hey, unplug your phone. And my homie, like, he had the face blocked. So my homie's pretending he's not working. And the cop's like, bam, otro, and bam, unlock it. And he just grabbed because mine's a fingerprint. So they just grab my hand and they put the fingerprint on it, and they just start going, boom, 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 boom. Who's this? And I had some audios, bro. Like, I had some
crazy shit.
Like they didn't even know, and even videos too, like hey, wait, ¿por qué están esos placas? Like from cameras from inside the house, like hey, wait, están los placas afuera, like hey, like you know what I mean? Like just typical trap shit, you know what I mean?
Sí.
So I'm like, I like when he's playing some really compromised audios, I'm like, hey, nah, let me, you know what I mean? I'm trying to like, wait, he's like, like, and then I hear my friend, I look, and then bam, they got the bag on his head, and they're, you know what I mean? So we're like, and I'm pretending everything hurts. They're hitting me, but it's kind of like, you know, it's not that pain, but I'm like, oh, like I'm overdoing it a little bit.
Estás exagerando.
Yeah, and everybody does it, and they know that too. So, and
pues sí, ni modo que
yeah, so
no me duele, it doesn't hurt.
I mean, but I guess I wasn't doing it right because one fool's like, este güey está muy calmado, güey. He's too calm, perro. And then they went inside, they took the bag from my homie's hand, and they went back and they put it on me, and that's when they start choking you and you asphyxiate, and they hit you on the stomach, you lose air, or they hit you in the knees and the legs, you know, because you're tied up, you're like this, so like. So they're like, hey, where are these guns at? And this and that, because they saw some videos and some addresses and stuff like that. Hey, I don't know. Like, I just turned them in and, you know, I have one in my house. I told them I keep one in my house because for protection, but that's about it. Like, I could give you guys that one. And they kept like, no, this and that. And then while they're doing some shit, the driver, the cop that was driving, I see he pulled out his phone and he took a picture of me. And it was when I did the same face, but I was like, that's good or bad depending on who he sends it to. Because out there, the people, they have group chats and stuff where everybody knows what's going on. So like if a cop, hey, wait, we have this guy here. Is he one of you guys? Is he one of those, you know, type things. So on my messages, they heard a name of a crew, or a group, you know what I mean? A particular group. So they're like, oh, that's who the things are, you know what I mean? So that guy took a picture of me. At this point, I didn't know, right?
Bien dormido se quedó.
So... ¿En qué me quedé?
No, so one took a picture?
Okay, so the guy takes a picture of me, and at this point, I'm like, wait, like, you know what I mean? So I don't really know. So I guess the homie convinced them he was going to give him some money, and they wanted my gun from my house. So we're like, okay, ¿cómo le vamos a hacer? No, whatever. No, first, they put us back in the truck, and then they got out, and they started talking, and, like, they say code names and stuff, but I could tell that they were like, hey, they're asking about them. Like they're asking about this guy, blah, blah, blah. Because my friend, his cuñado, he's a boss. So, but he's on the other side. He's del América, yo soy de las Chivas type thing. You know what I mean? So they were like getting messages from both sides basically. Because now the driver, he's from my side and he sent it to my friends basically, which was good. I didn't know that, but eventually it turned out.
That's how I figured. That's how you were.
When I heard this conversation, I was like, no, they're están preguntando por el 30, que el 21, que this and that, whatever. I was like, okay, so now people know. That's all I want. I was like, yeah, at least people know that we're here, you know. So I was like, but what's going on? So like, so he's like, hey, they're calling me. What do I do? One guy told the commander, and the commander was like, wait 15 minutes. And then ahorita les contestamos que se esperen a la verga. So he got in the truck. He's like, all right, so what are we going to do? I was like, hey, wait, I told you I got a gun in my house. How are you going to get it? I'm not going to let you in get it. I was like, all right, I got my friend lives in front. He's a psychologist. He no es malandro. Like I could tell him, you know, he's my childhood friend. That's why he's going to do the paro. He doesn't have nothing to do with it. He's like, all right, call him and tell him to get it out. I was like, all right. Hey, wait, ¿me puedes llevar la mochila like to the Oxxo right there? He's like, Simón, güey, I've been
Como nada.
Clueless, no? So, I mean, my friend también, he's like, hey, my mom's going to give you some money, whatever. So we're driving, I'm thinking we're driving to my house. And then all of a sudden they made me put my head up and we're in another homie's house that they found the address on the phone where some shit was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is like, there were some videos from inside the house and stuff where he was like, nah, that's the house because that's the one with the cameras. You know, I didn't want to tell like, I never been here. I was like, nah, I never been here. Wait, I don't know what house is it. But one cop was like, nah, that's the one with the cameras. So that must be it, whatever. And I was like, hey, wait, la neta, like there's nothing here. We're like, that's family. You se va a calentar. You know what I mean? I'm trying to. So eventually they just bust a U-turn and we dipped. And they take me to my house. My friend goes in. He gives him the gun. They approach my friend like they're gonna arrest him, but they just take that shit from him. And one of them tells him like, hey, tú eres psicólogo, why you hanging out with like malandros type of, you know what I mean?
Sí.
So they get back in the truck and they start driving like they just como si hubieran asaltado a alguien. No, they're like, no, dale pa acá, no, go this way.
Because they knew they were doing
They're
bad.
like, no, acá hay mucho policía. I was like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so we got away. But I live like on the west side of TJ, and my friend lives on the east side, so we drive all the way over there to pick up his money that he's gonna give him, no? But on our way,
oh my god!
but on our way out there, like I seen them, they le bajaron de huevos because the commander was like, hey, wait, I'm doing you a paro, wait. Remember, this is a favor, like I'm doing to you. He's like, I caught you slipping, now you gotta pay. Like, don't go cry to the higher ups and this like that. At this point, I was like, how does he know? Like, I can do that, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of piecing together like this and that. And
Te están haciendo un paro.
he's like, no, te estoy haciendo un paro, you know what I mean? He tried to,
Luego son buenos para hablar, ¿verdad?
yeah. So he's trying to do me like, hey, wait, te estoy haciendo un paro. And before that, they had already know that I had a podcast and stuff like that. So there was like a 5-minute bonding where we bonded about the podcast, and they were like, oh, mira, wait, oh, you know what I mean? But then they're like, yeah, cállate. So right now, where he's telling me is like, hey, wait, don't fucking go. I was like, nah, wait, no hard feelings. Come to my podcast. Le dije, Kyle, we'll talk. And they started laughing. They're like, wait, are you gonna tell everybody that I call you saying this and that, and that I put the bolsa and beat you up, whatever? I was like, we're cool now, right? Like, I don't mind, like, you know what I mean? And they just laughed and whatever. And he just started yapping about like, nah, I arrested this for once. And then he just started me like little stories and shit. Like, you know what I mean? But I was like, at least aquí sigo, you know what I mean? Like,
no, you made it out. Hey, because that's scary.
Wait, that shit didn't end right there, because we make it to my homie's where he was gonna do his deal, and he gets off the patrol car and he gives him the money, and then the cop in the back, he's gonna open the door, and then the cop, he's like, no, todavía no, and bam, they speed off, and I'm still like tied up. So now I'm like, cabrón, like I thought I paid, he paid, like, where are you taking me? Boom, they take me to like behind fábricas, and then they like dark ass place. They just pull up and they're like, bájate, and I was like, oh, you know what I mean? I was like, hijo de su puta madre. Yeah, start, and so that was, you know what I mean? I was like, you know what I mean?
Ya valí.
So I was like, all right, phone, they take my headscarf, y le dije, can I get my license? Bájate la verga, because they had my ID and shit. I was like, hey, wait, me dan mi licencia. No, bájate la verga. I was like, fuck, ya bajé. Y as soon as I step up, I look back and nothing happens. I was like, all right, cerré la puerta, and I just left and pulled out Google Maps, see where the was. And then I like see all these calls. Hey, wait, ¿qué pasó? Like this and that. ¿Por qué fueron a la casa de? Why did you go to that fool's house and this and that? So the homies held me out, but now they're like, hey,
What the
fuck, you know what I mean? So now I gotta like, so now I can't even go home. So I'm having all these like, hey, wait, no, we might have a meeting during the week to see what's up. And I was like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so now all that fucking day I settled, like I made sure, like I was talking to hey, wait, I see, like, hey, wait, remember when that, because some fool snitched on me once and they took some shit from us. Like, hey, remember when that fool did it? Like, they went in the house, way. If I would have told them there was shit in your house, they're not going to be like, okay, ahí las dejamos. You know what I mean? They would have broken into that shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pero yo les hice la llorona. I was like, no, way, no, his parents live there and all this shit, so that's why they didn't, way. He's like, nah, way, the cop is saying that you... Well, the cops were trying to cover their end, and they were like, no, he told us there was shit in the... Hey, I was like, no, mama, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I saw the homie from the house. Everything was cool. He's like, nah, wait, like, I know it would have happened if, you know.
Yeah,
he's like, at first I was sketchy. But even if, like, I've seen some fools say it's cool and then...
It's not, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, arre, güey, está bien, you know what I mean? It's whatever. He's still my friend to this day. You know, that happened like a few years ago and stuff, so...
So tell me, where are you at now?
Well, that's where I was going. After that happened, and then a month later, my uncle's passing happened. But that's what changed me. Like, not even the kidnapping. After the kidnapping, I was like, it's part of this shit. You know what I mean? But then my uncle's death happened. That just hit me, and after that, I quit everything. Like after that, like everything. I stopped answering everything. I told my mom, hey, I want to go move. Like, I want to go live with you. Like, you know what I mean? And I moved to my mom's house, and it's just family based, family oriented. Like nobody's
doing, yeah, I get normal.
Doing
it's
anything.
Like a normal house.
It's normal life. She has a job. My sisters, everything. Like nephews are growing up. My nieces and everything. So yeah, I needed that like family kind of cover again. Mm-hmm. You know. Even I'm like the weird because I like to be in my room a lot and sometimes I'm quiet shit, but I have a lot of sisters. I have fun and we just shit talk, you know. But it's mostly women in my family. It's mostly women.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why I've always been like in the hood and like I always wanted brothers. And my mom like, "What que quieres un hermano? Pues para pelearme con él." You know what I mean? Type shit. So So I mean, I love my sister to death. Like my family, I love him. But I always kind of like wanted that brother, like that tribal feeling, you know. But yeah, now like it's just family based, and then I got more focus on the podcast, not actually doing podcasting, not just.
Hey, what's the name of your podcast?
The podcast is El Bordo, which is like the border in English. Yeah. But it's what you call this big ass area: Zona Norte, La Castillo, La Alemán, Los Altos, Soler. It's all these hoods that are right next to the border, and they call it El Bordo, you know. So. It's all kinds of shit going on in Zona Norte, you know, it's around the Coahuila, so it's just, I grew up there, you know, like the real trenches. I've taken some people that do documentaries and they're like, damn, like I didn't...
Wait, you went with John Mitchell?
Yeah, I took Johnny Mitchell. He just wanted to like...
I like him, he's nice, huh?
He's cool, yeah, and it was a cool documentary. I told him like, he thought he was going to get some like above the sea level type info, and then when we got there, the other dude, Ed Manifesto, he was like, hey, wait. Not even I can come here. Like, you should really get some footage here. And Johnny was like, oh, shit. And once he saw, like, how the trap and everything was, like, oh, shit. He started, like, getting everything. You know what I mean? My friends were willing to talk to him and everything. So yeah, we got a cool video. If you guys want to check it out, it's in English, too. But my podcast is mostly in Spanish.
Okay.
I have interviews with... I met a lot of famous people just being around my friend and stuff like that, plus some on my own. Like... Adrián Marcelo, which is really famous right now because La Casa de los Famosos, Codiciado, Pancho Estrada, and like Luis Chaparro, the reporter, just all kinds of people like that I've been having around, and I've taken them to the podcast, and it's been doing good.
That's good.
Yeah,
and I'm sure it's gonna continue.
Also, I do like this audio stories. I know a lot of senor and like big dude and people that just got out of jail and they want to tell the story and they want me to tell it because they don't trust reporters. They know I'm going to tell it how it is. They know I understand. They know I've lived through the story. So
that's cool. Well, I'm glad that, I'm glad that you're like where you want to, I'm glad that you're where you want to be mentally, right? You're feeling better than you were obviously years ago. And, you're living your best life.
Yeah, and just being around like the industry and artists and all stuff. Like I said, I've always loved music, so I kind of always like wanted, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I used to buy like the Source magazine, all that, read interviews, and you know, I was always really into. So just being like firsthand now, like actually being part of it, and you know, it's dope. It's pretty dope. Yeah.
So tell me, before we go, is there anything that you want to share that you haven't shared?
Like what?
No, I'm just saying, just in general.
Well, there's a lot. It depends what
you know what? I just want to tell you this. Like, you're the only one that I've probably been sitting here longer than anybody based off not even talking about prison.
Well,
because this is
that's
really
special. I should say that.
yeah, no, you should, because this is really based off of, this is just a prison, like not just, but this is a prison channel.
Yeah.
About having
No, I watched it. Yeah, I watched,
you know.
Yeah.
But like you,
That's why I said in the beginning where I tell you where you get back to the cell and everybody got their years and everything, you're just sitting there. That's how I felt coming to the show. I was like, what am I gonna talk about? Like I didn't really do years or not. I mean, I have a lot of experience behind bars, but it's not really been because I've been there years. But
you've been busy.
yeah. But I mean, we find our way to stay away from it. And right now it's I don't know what.
Just your channel. You just do
I mean, my channel, and I like I said, I kind of felt like the Paisa representation was lagging, and
well, maybe you gotta hook me up.
No.
And then you got the real one.
Yeah.
Hey, you already said it, and he said it, guys. So if I don't get more Paisa, that's on him. You know?
No. You got to. I know a lot of people. I have a really cool community on El Bordo that are gonna come and comment and everything and on the video and everything. But yeah, shout out to Conejo, that he's the one that's been.
Love him.
He's been opening the doors for me out here in LA, and just I think being like that people see me with them and stuff like that. They kind of like, oh,
we love him.
What I mean? Yeah. So yeah, man, shout out to him. And I want to be in. I love the media. I love the LA scene. I love everything. Even though I grew up out there, I was born out here, so I kind of have that feeling. So I wish they invited me to all the podcasts. And
you will. Little by little. You know, little by little.
Yeah, I'm down.
Well, again, thank you.
No, thank you
for sharing. You guys don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram.